Welcome back to Macrodosing, the only podcast that exists.
Hang on. Arian's like out.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just going to do an ad read.
Oh, I thought you were like starting the show.
No.
Oh, you said.
Well, it is the start
Do we
of the show.
want to get into? Okay,
This is the start of the show right now. That's Big T hopping on the ad read. Big T, have you been into any ball games recently? Any ball stadiums?
A lot, actually.
Yeah? Where were you at?
Last week, the weekend before last, I went to 4 of the 5 Braves Mets games.
How'd that go?
Not well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just love going to ball games.
How'd you get in?
Game time.
There you go. That's organic right there.
Yep.
We did not plan this out. Game time gets you into every game you want to go to. As a podcast, major announcement. This is only for people that did not skip the ad reads. That was pretty good, Mad Dog.
Thank you.
The major announcement is we are going to be going to the Tennessee-Florida game. Excuse me, the Florida at Tennessee game in Knoxville. Major game. Big historical implications there. Big T, do you have any celebrations that you do as a fan when you beat Florida?
I've only been able to experience it once. It was very fun though. 2016, big comeback in that game. I believe we're down 24-3. I plan on. I'm very excited that we're all going to be there when we beat them again. It's going to be very fun.
And Arian's going back for the first time since he retired from the NFL. The whole squad is going to Knoxville, and we're going to go to that game. And if you want to go to that game, best way to do is with Game Time. They have the best seats, the best last-minute ticket bargains, super easy to use. The interface is incredibly simple. It's incredibly easy. Check them out. You can actually find MLB tickets for under $15, all on Game Time. As a Nationals fan, I bet that they're significantly less than $15 now, looking at our starting lineup recently. But we went as a group to a Mets game. I know some of you guys went to a Yankees game. We went to a Rangers game. We use Game Time all the time. Check it out. The purchase process is so quick and easy. They've got a great interface. Download the Game Time app. Go to the account tab to create your login and redeem code MACRO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time. Last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. That's Game Time. We will see you guys at, is it Neyland Stadium? Neyland Stadium. The iconic checkerboard end zones.
Correct.
Come say hi to us if you go out to that game. We will see you there. I'm sure Tennessee's going to win this year. This is going to be Hidden Hooker's welcome to like primetime performance. This is going to be his Heisman moment. How about that?
Love that.
Come see his Heisman moment in person with Game Time. All right, welcome back to Macrodosing. Mad Dog is doing a nice little welcome back dance.
Woo-hoo.
It's good to be back in the studio with you guys. I missed you guys last week.
Mm-hmm.
Billy and I went on our annual Grit Week road trip, and we left you with Large and KB. So I have not listened to last week's episode.
It was funny.
I've got some feedback online from certain people. I don't know exactly what went on the podcast. From what I've heard, things went pretty smoothly. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Arian, did you like, well, you know Large already a little bit. What were your impressions of KB?
I don't really have much. He's a cool dude. I think he's a bit of a troll, but
yeah,
he's funny dude. Yeah, funny dude. I have a problem. Large is that's my guy. I fuck with Large.
Yeah, Large is the man. KB, I saw that you guys talked about how you sent him viral back in the day with the vegan tweets.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious, man.
That
shit was hilarious. Yeah.
The vegan Craigslist ad.
Yeah, people kept sending me more of his Craigslist shit. That's funny. He was killing that shit.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. How are the vibes in the studio?
Hi.
Really good. KB did guarantee that every August 8th he will be on the podcast.
So just look out for that one.
So he invited himself back on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for next August 8th.
All right, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's fair. I like that he was comfortable enough with you guys to do that. So you guys got into catfishing.
Yeah.
Manti Te'o.
Yep.
That entire thing. Okay. And Large was well at home. I saw Big T. You were making yourself at home up here. Mad Dog took my seat.
No.
Yeah, that was Nano.
It's only for Nano.
Yeah.
Okay. I was shocked to see Mad Dog, but that's fine. That's fine. Donnie did it last year on Grit Week, and he looked like a perfect mix of me and Big Cat as one person. But it's always weird to see somebody else sitting in your seat.
Look, I was asked. I did not ask to be put in your seat, so I will not be put in it again. With great power comes great responsibility.
Well, you don't have to be. I'm not like trying to intimidate you out of taking my seat. I was just shocked to see it. It's weird.
I was shocked to be in it.
Yeah. What's the biggest takeaway from sitting in the seat?
It's a lot. Red lights. I didn't realize you guys had red lights on you.
Yeah.
because I don't sit in that.
I didn't even realize that till like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or 3 weeks ago. I was like, what is
Very
that
interesting.
like?
They're like orange. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
It's
Also,
Tennessee
That's why
orange.
we look so tan.
No,
Actually,
I'm just actually really
PFT,
tan
you're
right
looking
now.
pretty
PFT
red
looks
right
jacked
now.
right now. I literally just looked in the
I look
video.
I look tan right now. I've been hitting the beach hard. Me and Ray Baker have gotten to know each other pretty well this summer, and I've got 2 weeks left of summertime, so I'm gonna be out in the sun as much as I can.
And you have a Jeep. You're
You
like
got
turning into a real
2
Jersey
weeks
Shore
left
guy.
of summertime.
Yeah, well, 2 weeks left with my beach house. That's really when
Oh,
that's
okay.
that's what I'm counting it as.
Are you going this weekend?
I'm gonna be down there this weekend. No, you cannot come. You are invited. No, I've invited Billy. I invited you down.
I actually could come this weekend.
Unfortunately, this is the one weekend where the entire house is just completely full. I've invited all you guys down there, which the offer still stands, just not this weekend. You know who is going to be in the house this weekend, though? Billy?
Who?
Jake. Jake is coming down,
Oh, cool.
and you're not. So me and Jake we're gonna party
That's
it
cool.
up. So yeah, it is good to be back though.
We also haven't seen you guys since Billy's performance.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, Billy took the stage at Pup Punk. Arian, did you see Billy singing "Born to Run" online?
I did see that.
What'd you think?
About what I thought when I heard him sing it in studio.
I was impressed with Billy. I'll be honest. My expectations were low because Billy had told me that he's taking it very seriously, and then a couple hours before the show, he's like, "Hey, I'm going to be late." And then he got on stage. He had the chain out. You're
Yeah,
ready
shout
to
out
go.
Jetski, Wayne Jetski. He gave me his chain, told me to unbutton my shirt and get jiggy with it.
Mhm.
So,
Billy wanted to do the entire song.
yeah.
Billy wanted to keep going with it. I was like, "No, Billy, trust me. Two verses. That's going to be plenty for the people out there."
Yeah.
And the crowd loved him. The crowd
was
It was a
Awesome.
rush.
The crowd
It was a rush.
ate it up for Billy, except there was one woman. I don't know if you saw this woman. She stuck out like a sore thumb. She was like in the middle of the bottom row. She wasn't like first row, but a couple rows back. But she was on the floor, and she was staring at you the entire time with a look on her face like she hated you. But everyone else loved you.
I don't know who
But
was
I
it.
just kept looking back at this woman who was just staring at Billy like it was I don't know, like a public torture scene where she was disgusted by your performance, and I was like, "You need to lighten up for a second. Billy's
Who
killing it."
was this person?
I don't know. I need to find out who she was. And then after Billy's performance, Roan was like, "Give it up for Billy," and she was like, "No, I will not clap for Billy." She was mad at you.
Well,
she said no.
Yeah, no. She goes, "No."
I never ever performed solo. I've sung in a choir, like in school and in church, but I've never sang solo or did a performance like that. I've done karaoke, but yeah. So that was so nerve wracking. Like that,
You put your soul into the lyrics, though.
I did.
You
You
guys
were-
did awesome.
You
It
were
was
like
so
feeling
fun.
it.
I want to perform some Nickelback
Okay.
if there's an opportunity.
You're KBing yourself. You're inviting yourself back on.
Yeah.
Next August 6th, you can come and perform with us live and play a show
Perfect.
on August
Awesome.
6th. I also think that we should do Carstool karaoke on Nanodosing. So like Billy performed Born to Run. I'd like to see Big T get behind the mic because I know he's got a good voice.
Well, you did Rocky Top, right?
He's
Yeah,
done
we've-
that before.
We've done that before on this show.
You want to do it now?
No.
I think that's a Wednesday thing for Thursday's Nanodosing. What song would you like to sing?
I would not like to sing.
Okay, but you're kind of being forced to in this situation.
I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Well, it's 2 days.
Yeah,
from now,
I
so-
really got forced into. Yeah.
You were nervous.
Well, I didn't know. You signed me up for it.
You were nervous, but it's
It was,
okay.
it was terrifying.
You used the nerves.
It was more terrifying than Jose Canseco. It was definitely more like anxiety inducing.
Wow.
Well, like right before
What do you think lasted longer, Jose Canseco or the Born to Run song?
Born
Or is
to
it
Run
like
song.
a minute and a half?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, send suggestions for what you want to hear Big T sing on Nanodosing on Thursday. Maybe something country. You got a good country voice.
Yeah, kind of.
I'd like to hear you sing maybe some Garth Brooks. You know any Garth?
Maybe.
Some Toby Keith.
Miami.
There's some. Toby Keith has some good ones.
I like Beer for My Horses.
Good song.
Yeah. And then Aaron, we'll get you on at some point to sing some karaoke too. You a karaoke guy?
Really, man.
Dude, he's a rapper,
He's a musician.
so he can sing.
Yeah, he can sing.
I've definitely performed, but that's not really my style, man.
What if Arian and I sing "Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue" together?
I mean, yeah.
Hell no. Hell no.
Oh my god.
What about you?
With some kind of soul?
Do you remember that song that came out like 10 years ago, Accidental Racist?
I do not.
Yes.
That song was it was maybe the worst idea of all time.
Oh,
It was LL Cool J and I want to say Brad Paisley maybe. And it's maybe the worst song ever put out. And it was about like a white guy being like, yeah, I'm racist sometimes, and a black guy being like, yeah, I'm racist too. It's just really bad. But I highly recommend everybody listens to it once just to catch the vibe of it. They thought that they were like uniting America, but it was like the most divisive song. It was great. It was a wonderful moment in the internet.
Jesus. 2013.
Yeah, 2013. Yeah, about 10 years ago.
Brad Paisley. Wow.
Yeah, it was a banger. But yeah, we're all back in studio today. We've got a special guest coming up, Hassan Piker. You may have seen him on Twitch. You may have seen him on Twitter, Instagram. He is a commentator, a political commentator. And it's a good discussion that we had, very wide ranging. So I hope you guys like it. He actually DM'd me after we were done with it. Here's what he said. That was dope, man. I hope y'all didn't think the first half was boring. And I think I know why he said, I hope y'all didn't think the first half was boring, was because just him and Billy were getting into like old prehistoric, was it prehistoric stuff?
We were talking about pre-agricultural age.
I'll say this. If you missed Smart Billy makes an appearance here.
I'm buzzing off lines, man.
Yeah.
My brain is operating at 3,000% capacity.
I've got lion's mane coursing through my blood too.
Well, you just
Plummer.
took it. I've been on it. I've been dosing it every day.
Oh yeah?
I think my neurons are going to get super. I think this might be a permanent change.
Your neurons are more connected than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got it from Jake Plummer, who we interviewed on Grit Week, and we went to his mushroom farm. Arian, did you know Jake Plummer at all? You're muted again.
Fuck, I think I actually keep hitting that shit. No, I never met him.
I think you'd like him. He's a very, very cool guy. Universally loved by all his former teammates. And he's got very interesting perspective on things. He grows mushrooms now, not the fun ones. We were disappointed. We thought that he was growing like the psilocybin mushrooms, but he grows lion's mane. What other reishi mushrooms?
Cordyceps, reishi. The reishi I've been taking too. The reishi is pretty good for anti-inflammatory. Also, I don't know what the reishi does, but it's an anti-anxiety one. And then cordyceps is supposed to be sort of a pre-workout of sorts for energy before working out. And then lion's mane is great for focus. I think that the lion's mane he got, what I took, definitely is on par with a microdose of psilocybin. I'd put it there. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I took some before we started recording, so I'm about to feel the effects of it right now.
I took it this morning and it hit me.
Oh, you should have told me. I think I have some.
You got lion's mane?
No, I have some mushrooms.
I think. Well, we don't have.
This
psilocybin.
isn't psychedelic.
Oh.
But I'm glad that you have some mushrooms. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to introduce you to Jake. I think you guys would become fast friends. I do have a bit of sad news that I wanted to get into today before we got into the meat of the episode. I don't know if you guys have been following this story coming out of Norway.
Yeah. No, this is...
Billy knew exactly.
Yeah.
The lion's mane is fucking hitting on Billy. I just said, I don't know if you guys have been following this story, and Billy's like, oh, yeah.
No, it's
incredible.
Sad.
So we're on the same wavelength here.
Are we talking about the seal?
It's a walrus.
It's a walrus.
Seals have internal ears. Sea
Sorry.
lions have external. Walruses have tusks.
Sorry.
Can you not disrespect
I'm
that?
sorry. I didn't mean to disrespect the walrus community.
That would be like me being, are you a monkey? Get it?
Why?
Because it's a lesser evolved creature.
Oh, okay.
We're just going to mix up species now?
Sorry.
Okay, so but can we just observe this moment for what it is, because it's sad? Let's bring it back. Freya, a 1,300-pound walrus who spent the summer lolling about on boats and basking on piers in Oslo Fjord, delighting many locals, has been killed by Norwegian authorities who say she was a threat to human safety.
I think what she really was, a threat to Hillary Clinton. That's probably what it was.
Okay. Yeah.
So
she had information leading to the arrest. Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Freya the walrus, she seemed like a real sweetheart. She just made her way up this fjord. She's been hanging out on boats, just kind of like sunning herself. And tourists were getting too close to her, and they thought that there was going to be some sort of accident that happened. And so it was a preemptive, it was a pre-crime Harambe is what they did. So before anything bad could happen, they said in the news that they euthanized the walrus. They don't say how. I don't know if they euthanized her with a bullet or with poison, or if they just like got behind her and choked her out real quick.
I mean, whatever they did, have you ever seen a walrus skull?
I can confidently say I have not.
Walruses have thick ass skulls, because literally the only way to kill a walrus if you're a polar bear is to crush its skull. If you look at all the walrus polar bear fight videos,
I love how you say walrus.
walrus.
Yeah, what is it?
No, I like it.
Walrus.
Was that correct? I've always thought it was walrus.
No, it's walrus.
Wool?
Well, if you're a sailor,
Yeah, if you're a sailor,
if you're a real seafaring
if you're a
gentleman,
seafaring individual like Billy.
and you're up in the Arctic and you're looking after walruses.
Billy listens to enough like Swedish and Norwegian chanting music that I'm going to go with his pronunciation on walrus for the time being.
I think it's just how David Attenborough says it.
So
Giant walrus.
so the only way that a polar bear can kill it, can it just bite into its liver?
No, I mean, because it had so much fat. So think about it. You have about like 2, sometimes depending on how big the walrus is, you have a good 3 feet of blubber.
Nah.
Walrus.
No, bruh.
Play it again. Oh, wait, play it one more time.
Walrus.
I
No,
was
that's
talking over it.
that's the robot
Here we go.
talking.
Walrus.
Walrus.
Wall.
That sounded
No.
like wool.
Well, the thing is, a walrus.
Wall.
I don't think walrus really encapsulates like the Andy
That does
Reid
sound like wall
In-
now.
walrus.
Encapsulates.
Encompasses.
I like encapsulates.
I'm gonna start saying that.
That's kind of lit, actually.
Yeah, I like that word.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is, if you were to shoot a walrus in the head, it has a thick ass skull, so you need like a caliber bullet. You're not putting that down with like a.
Well, you could shoot its body.
No, but I'm saying there's 3 feet of blubber.
I'm pretty sure a bullet could pierce 3 feet of fat, though.
Right, but then it would slow down the velocity.
Walrus.
I mean,
It is walrus.
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 That's how Chick
that's the
says
robot.
it. That's different.
That's what I'm saying. This is how you pronounce it.
Women say
W-
walrus. Men say walrus.
WAALRUHS. Walrus.
Yeah. There's not an H. Did you say H?
No, that's the pronunciation shit that they spell right on the side of it to let you know how it's supposed to be.
Anyway, walruses.
Anyway, yeah.
So,
he still did it.
so Freya's dead.
Yeah,
I don't know
Freya
why they
was-
killed Freya. Justice for Freya.
Why couldn't they just like take her to a zoo?
I think it's a little bit more difficult than that. You have to like put a net on her.
Wait, when you say they euthanize her, that's like when animals or it's usually when we're suffering from like an ailment, and then you choose to take your own life, or you have somebody else that has your right of attorney to take your own life.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, speaking of Scandinavia and euthanasia, they've legalized that suicide chamber, and that's just dark.
That's not. It's beautiful.
No, but it's just like it's just like it's way too easy.
Wait, I don't think it's that.
I don't think.
Well, it's easy to do. That's kind of the point, right?
Yeah,
If you're like suffering from terminal cancer,
yeah, but you just get in this thing, and then oxygen gets depleted, and
I'm sure there's like a process you have to go through. It's not just like
Yeah,
in the
Yeah.
town square.
Yeah, you have to go through like a lot of like psychological tests. And
Yeah.
you have to sign a lot of things to make sure that you're aware of what you're doing before you sign off on it.
You can't just have a bad day.
No,
Right. Be like,
and be
hey.
like, this is it for me.
Yeah.
Also, I think you have to like be defined as someone who has a terminal illness who
Yeah.
cannot be treated anymore.
Yeah.
Someone in California, I read an article on it. Someone in California just used the right. I forget what the
I
name
get
of
it,
it's
I
like
get
the
it,
right
but
to
it's
death.
just like I don't know. It's just like it's just sort of like whoa.
Okay, all they're saying about what happened to Freya is it was done in the early morning hours
Just
and was
out on where she was?
conducted in a humane fashion that complied with current routines and regulations. That doesn't mean shit. I think they shot this walrus.
think
That's
they
like
shot
that's
it
a
too.
shot. Do you know how
Like how they put when they kill a cow and they put it between the eyes.
Yeah.
like with a stunt because
Yeah.
just everyone Google walrus skull, send it to the group.
So it's the humans' fault in this situation because the Norwegian authorities are saying that they couldn't keep people away. They wouldn't listen to all the officials that were telling them, hey, you can't swim with this walrus. You can't beckon this walrus for pictures. You can't throw sticks and stones at the walrus. And so people got too close to it. They didn't listen. And so they figured, okay, it's time to kill it. That's fucked up.
That's really sad.
And Freya, it looks like her only crime was
Being too friendly.
Was being too friendly.
Probably flipping boats
and
too.
no, I don't think she was flipping boats. She was chilling in boats. She was laying down in boats.
Have you ever? Oh, did you guys see that video of the whale breaching on top of a boat?
No.
Oh, it was on TikTok. There's two angles. Whale breaching on boat. It's wild.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Also, Billy came into the studio today. The first thing that he did was he unpacked this giant canister of pencils and a notepad. It looks like Billy got a sketching gift. Where'd you get that?
I've always had the notepad and sketching.
I've never seen those pencils before.
Yeah, I used them to draw the frog, the NFT frog.
Okay. And what are you drawing right now?
Well, I found a top Reddit post today was someone found an incomplete skeleton of a woolly rhino in Germany. So this German dude didn't know what it was, and he tried to construct it, not knowing it was incomplete, and it just turned out looking like a two-legged unicorn. And I drew an artist rendition of what the two-legged unicorn would look like.
Okay, show it to the camera.
Yeah.
What do you think of that, Arian? I know that you were critical of some of Billy's previous drawings.
Well, you gotta look at the skeleton.
It looks like a pretty decent drawing. It looks like just a happy cartoon hippopotamus.
Nah. Why does he only have one leg?
Why does he have one leg, Billy? Why does he have one leg?
It's two-legged because they only found the back legs of the woolly rhino, and they try to put it together. I'll send the other picture of that to the group.
All right,
This
well,
was very interesting.
justice for Freya is what I'm getting at right now because it sounds like it was fucked up. It sounds like they didn't. When they won't tell you how it was euthanized, you can probably bet that it involved like some sort of explosive. I think they blew it up.
Have you ever seen beached whales blow up?
Yeah.
And even in the water, they just blow up by themselves.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not because of humans. That's just, isn't it like the acid in them?
Yeah, it starts burning. It's
Yeah.
like gas buildup, and then just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when they get on shore, if they don't explode, they smell so bad.
Yeah.
I was in the Outer Banks like 10 years ago, and a giant sea turtle washed ashore. It was big. It was like massive. And it was on shore, and I climbed on top of it to take a picture, which was a bad idea because they've got barnacles all over it. And they're like, hey, be careful. If you cut yourself on a barnacle, like you might die. You might get a bad infection. So I climbed off, and then I expected that somebody would take the sea turtle away at some point, and they didn't. And the entire beach stunk for like a week. It was bad.
Yeah. I heard a story of someone jumping on a beached whale with bare feet, and their feet stunk for like the rest of the summer.
Yeah. So the moral of that story is don't mess with dead animals.
Beached animals.
Or animals in general.
Yeah. What do you think they should have done? I know you're an animal hater, Arian. What should they have done with Freya?
I think they did. She gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with the decision. I don't know enough about sea walruses or lions or whatever the fuck it is. So I'm happy with their decision.
All right. I'm not.
Well, honestly, the Scandinavians are pretty cutthroat when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean, they're pretty, like cold as ice. Like
Yeah.
the landscape they come from. Like polar bears are banned from Iceland. Any polar bear that shows up in Iceland is to be shot, and that is a law on the books since like Viking times.
Well, I understand that. That makes sense to me. Polar bears will just kill everything.
Yeah.
That's the Scandinavians, though. Iceland is populated by former Vikings, right? From Sweden, Norway.
Eric the Red?
Yep, that's my ancestor.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. He went to Iceland, Greenland, and then may have hit Scandinavia. I mean, Newfoundland.
Yep. And his son, Leif Erikson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool dudes.
Were they?
Are we canceling Vikings?
I think so. I mean,
I
don't
think
know.
whatever happened between the Vikings and the Native Americans in Newfoundland when they got there, there needs to be a movie made on that.
Okay.
Like imagine bows and arrows, like
Two different
Vikings,
types of
like
warfare.
that
going at each other.
crossover has we've never seen that.
No.
And the
Yeah.
Vikings lost.
They got sent
And that's
back.
when the Native Americans like had a serious population, like tons of cities.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's talking Norway. So thank you, R.I.P. Freya, or if you're more inclined to agree with Arian, good riddance to Freya the walrus. But Billy did send a picture of a walrus skull to the group chat. It does look pretty cool.
Yeah, thick.
Unshootable, unkillable. So, Big T,
Yeah.
what are we teed off about this week?
So I have one from last week that I didn't get to use, but then there's the thing that I texted y'all about this morning that you said save it for the show.
Yeah.
I wasn't really teed off. It was just it was just a bad way to start the day.
Let's start with what happened last week.
Okay, so I mentioned that I went to all the Braves Mets games. I just have some observations about things people do at baseball games that I think we should stop. First of all, booing every pickoff attempt, but only by the away team.
I kind of love that though. It's so
it's
funny.
so stupid. Like,
Why did we start doing that?
I don't know. Like, you're at a baseball game. It's not a fast-paced sport. Like, if that's the case, then let's just make a rule. Only the home team can pick off, and they can just steal as much as they want. It's very dumb. Thinking every fly ball is a home run. The people who it's a routine fly ball to center field, 10 steps shy of the track, and they're up. That's the worst.
I've done that before.
Yeah, you got to watch the outfilders, not the ball.
Yep.
And then this is the one that's the worst. Being upset at ball and strike calls when you're 400 feet away. I just, those people I can't deal with. If you're sitting in left field and you get upset at a call the umpire made, you are the worst person at a baseball game.
You've never done that?
You can't see. You don't know.
Right, but you do that. I'm sure you do that.
No, I actively try not to.
I'm 100% sure that you get upset at
unless
umpires.
I see it after the fact on Twitter or something. Like, obviously you want your team to throw strikes and shit, but like if you're that far away and you can't see, it's very dumb.
It's funny though if you see a call that you think is wrong from the outfield to go like, look good from here up.
Yeah, now that's different. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. I'm with you on the pickoff attempt though thing. It's
the worst.
It's funny. I've always wondered about that when I'm watching a game on TV, especially if it's the first pickoff attempt. I can see
if you've done it 4 times.
after 3 or 4 times, then it's like, okay, this pitcher does not want to pitch. He's like killing time.
But if you make a legit move and like you could almost get the guy and they'll be like, boo.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very dumb.
Okay, that's a good teed off.
Yeah.
What do you have this week?
I mean, I texted y'all this morning. I was walking to the subway on my way to work, and I just saw Rachel Maddow sitting there eating breakfast. And I was just like, can you imagine just a worse way to start the day?
What was she eating?
I didn't see
Fancy
that.
French toast, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Cantaloupe spirals on it.
But I'll tell you what, I'll never patronize that restaurant. I don't even know what it's called. I see it every morning though, but I'm not going there.
Wait, you should go. I mean,
I can find out what it's called.
you would not be able to handle it though, because every single time that you would eat there, you'd be like, what if this was the fork that Rachel used?
Yeah, I mean, it's too close already.
Why didn't you harass her like a lot of Republicans have been harassed in restaurants?
Because that's not a thing that you should do. It was.
Who did that happen to?
It was
Several people.
Kavanaugh and
Kavanaugh,
Tucker?
but Kavanaugh didn't know that there were even protesters there. So the restaurant people went up to him and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna get you out the back, so you don't have to go through the protesters."
Oh.
So he's able to eat his meal in comfort, but then afterwards he was escorted away.
But yeah, that was how I started my day today.
I think it happened to Tucker too. I think
Yeah.
people yelled at Tucker at some point. He's a weirdo, isn't he?
Did I show you the video of him fly fishing in Central Park?
No.
So one of the Howard Stern guys just was walking around and was videotaping him and didn't know who he was, fly fishing in Central Park, which I mean, it's pretty chill.
Yeah. Fly fishing is one of those things that I think you have to get into when you're in your 40s or 50s, right? That's an older.
I've been doing some fly fishing recently. It's very, very hard. I'm trying to get into it. Someone very close to me is very, very good at it, and it's fun.
It's all on the wrist, right?
Yeah, and then controlling the line, pulling the line. It's a whole thing.
Is it meditative?
Very. It's a great time to like pack a Zen
Yeah.
to pass the time. That helps with the patience
Mm-hmm.
part. But it's good to get in the river. It's good to get that cold water up to your waist.
Have you caught anything?
Yes.
Aaron, do you go fishing?
No,
I prefer
it's
deep
on the water.
Yeah, that's a good point.
My cousin just got a boat. Labor Day, I'm gonna go. We're going fishing.
That's great to know somebody with a boat and not
Yeah.
own a boat yourself.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Just pay for gas.
That's actually ideal. You don't really want to own a boat
No, not at all.
or a plane or any of that kind of shit. Like it's just better to know somebody with one.
Having
It's a
partial
headache.
Yeah, there's so much maintenance that has
Just
to
a
go
headache.
into a boat.
Maintenance, gas, insurance, all those regulations, and not rather. And you,
Yeah.
unless you're like a boat guy and like you enjoy like
fixing up a boat.
twisted gears and shit like that.
You have to know how to tie all sorts of knots and shit too.
Yeah.
How many
Well,
different
that's
types
fun.
of knots do you know how to tie, Billy?
Probably I know how to do 3-4 consistent knots. I know a couple cleat knots. Yeah, just
You could just
depends.
be making up words right now, and I'm just nodding. Like,
well, like
yeah, the cleat
tying
knots.
a knot on a cleat is different.
Oh, like shoes.
No, on a cleat.
What's a cleat? You mean like
What's on the
football
dock?
cleats?
No, like a cleat, like on the side of a boat.
Oh, that's called a cleat.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought you were using a very fancy term for tying your shoes.
No. Well, there's different knots for different things,
Yeah.
and
only know
I use a
one
bunch
knot.
of different knots, but I don't remember. Like I couldn't name all the different ones. I just know them from what I use them for.
Yeah, I know 2 knots. I know how to tie my shoes, and then I know the tie knot. Was that a Windsor?
Yeah, I was about to say. Is a Windsor? Is that a knot? I
Yeah,
guess that is.
Windsor's a knot, but some people go like double Windsor.
I think I could do the double Windsor. I could do both. I believe. Yeah. I used to be. Oh, I could do the bow tie as well.
Oh, you know how to tie like the
actual.
actual bow tie?
Yeah, I used to be into bow ties.
Well, you know what happens if there's like double Windsor, triple Windsor, and then you end up with
Quadruple Windsor? What?
yeah, never mind.
No, where's this going?
Actually, let me
Yeah,
look
I
this
want
up.
to.
Yeah, well, Billy, no, just brain dump it out. You got the lion's mane flowing through. The neurons
What's
are firing.
What's after triple Windsor?
He was like, it's a slippery slope with the Windsors, you know? No, I don't know. I want to know.
Let me just make sure.
No, Billy, just tell me what you were thinking.
No, I'm wrong. Never mind.
Damn it, we were deprived of a classic Billy Wrong situation.
Yeah, that'd have been amazing.
What were you thinking of?
Well, there's, the corporate noose, as they call it. It's a tie.
Oh, the you're saying it becomes a noose.
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't want to say noose.
No, because it's like the corporate noose.
Okay. I think that's just
like the
somebody
joke.
saying like
It's like
tying a
dead
tie.
man's tie.
Yeah. Well, ties are weird because there was somebody that at some point in time was like, you know what? You should really have something around your neck.
I
And
don't
then
know what the
everyone
hell
was
a
like-
tie's for.
Yeah. What is it for?
I think it literally dates back to
there has to be some purpose, right?
why
It's like
do
some
we
English shit.
wear ties?
I looked it up a while back, and which is why I stopped wearing ties. I think it was a form of like, I could be totally making this up. I think it was like a form of like, it was like a separation of classes or something like that.
So this is what I'm
Oh.
getting from what I'm looking at. Originating in the 17th century, symbolizing nobility, honor, and order. Originating in the 17th
Yeah.
century Europe, Croatian mercenaries serving in France were the first to wear knotted neck chiefs to signal their position in alliance. King Louis the Ninth of France admired the neckwear so much, began wearing ties as a status style item. Huh.
So the king wore it, and then everybody else is like, I got to do this too.
Well, I think it became big amongst the mercenaries. The modern necktie, well, they're descended from the cravat. This is weird. Christian denominations teaching plain. Yeah.
I don't think that there's a functional use for a tie, right? Maybe like as a bib.
Oh, this is cool.
Is it like
this
a
is
bib?
cool. Okay, actually now I'm backing on times. In 1715, another kind of neckwear called stocks made its appearance. The term originally referred to a leather collar laced to the back worn by soldiers to promote holding the head high in a military bearing. The leather stock also afforded some protection to the major blood vessels of the neck from sabers or bayonet attacks. okay, I'm backing on ties.
So you wore a tie to prevent
You from getting your head
getting
your
stabbed?
neck sliced.
It kept your head on your shoulders.
Yeah, and also prevented your jugular from getting sliced.
Okay, so now we're back in. You should wear ties every day then.
Yeah, I'm protecting my neck from people stabbing me.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
All right. Well, that was tie talk. Thank you for stopping by. You got to the bottom of that one pretty quickly. Anything else we want to get into?
Oh, so there's been a conspiracy going around the internet. So did you guys see recently that what is it? There was an actress who died in a car accident, and everyone's Anne Hetch, yeah. And there's video. This is now the only reason I'm bringing this up is because we're a conspiracy podcast, and a conspiracy is being developed that she isn't dead.
Okay.
Because there's a video coming from actually, I don't know if we should talk about this.
Well, it's. I mean,
You're already
It's-
halfway there.
yeah.
Yeah, so
kind of
basically,
cat's out of the bag.
there's a video of her being taken from the accident scene where she was in a car accident. The car went into a house. The vehicle combusted, and they take a video of a body, like a stretcher being taken out with wrapping over it. And I think what the wrapping is they put it on burn victims. And then on the way to the ambulance, she pops out of it and sits up, and everyone thinks that she was alive.
Well, she was.
She was, yeah.
Yeah,
Then she
She
got
didn't-
put into a coma.
Yeah, she didn't die at the scene.
right.
So I think we got to the bottom of that
So I
one.
think
But
the
I know,
bottom
but
of-
they're also like, there's all these conspiracies. I'm just bringing it up because I know why. Because she popped up, she was alive. She wasn't wrapped in a body
It's a pretty
bag.
easily
I know, but then
disproven conspiracy.
it works. Yeah, so she's like trying to get out.
Are people saying like she shouldn't have been able to move that quickly, like after
They're
being in
saying,
a car accident?
well, it was also firefighters putting her into an ambulance, not paramedics. And in different states, there's different laws regarding that. In California, firefighters are also paramedics. But people were like, why was it a firefighters putting her into the ambulance
she
and
was
not
on
paramedics?
fire.
This is a lazy conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
It's
This
just
is
it's been buzzing. It's been buzzing. It's just because the video is very disturbing, and they think that.
It is sad that she died, though. I don't know
Yeah.
what she was from. I just kept seeing that she was an actress.
She had a pretty fucked up life. If
Really?
you go back, I read her Wikipedia page the other day, and then read some adjacent articles to source these facts. But I guess when she was a kid, she had a really bad upbringing. Like her dad was very abusive, emotionally, sexually, a bunch of stuff. And then her brother died in a car accident. He drove his car into a tree. She said on purpose.
Like a suicide.
Like a suicide by driving your car into a tree. And then her other brother, I think, died. And then she dealt with like a lot of lingering trauma issues. And she, at one point, there was a story that she drove out to, I think, the desert of California or out into the wilderness and just parked her car one day and started walking. And she walked like 1.5 miles, 2 miles to a random house, let herself in. The person in the house recognized her from movies. It was like, oh, it's Anne Hesh. Okay, come on in. And she went inside. She was like, I really need to use your shower. She showered. Then she drank a bunch of water and like sat down on this guy's couch and was just not making any sense. And the guy called the police because he's like, there's somebody in my house acting erratically. The cops came up and like took her away. And I think she was on MDMA or ecstasy or something like that.
Oh,
just kind of weird stuff.
Yeah.
But she had a really, really strange life. But I don't know if I can get myself into the she's still alive conspiracy.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been going around. It's much more explainable, but like when the news first broke, and especially this video came out of her popping out of the burn, because everyone thought it was a body bag that she was like struggling to get out of.
Okay.
Yeah.
They didn't realize that it was
Yeah,
just
it was
like
a
a bag,
burn-
like a burn bag almost.
Yeah, a
like
burn
she's
bag.
not dead.
Yeah, and that's what everyone was like, what? Like, she's definitely alive. They're doing another coordinated death.
No offense to her, and may she rest in peace, but I don't know if she's a big enough celebrity to like have fake deaths around.
I don't know.
Yeah,
You know?
I agree.
Like I didn't know who she was until like this weekend when she passed away. Like I don't know if she's big enough.
She dated
I
Ellen
recognize
DeGeneres.
her.
I do know that. That's like one of the main reasons that I know who
Oh,
she is.
she dated Ellen?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
that's the only woman that she's ever been romantically involved with. Besides that, she's been married to, I think.
She was married to a man.
Oh
Married to
my
a man,
God, no,
yeah.
I remember when they were dating.
No, you don't.
Because my mom used to, wait,
I don't think it was when we were alive, Billy.
You might have been dead. Are you dead before you're born? That's
I
a good
always think
question.
about-
That's an interesting
I
question. When you said that, I was
always
like, huh.
Let's discuss. Big T, before you're born, are you dead?
No, I think dead necessitates having been alive.
No, I think dead is the state of being not alive.
You're not yet existent.
I think you're dead before you're born.
I don't think so.
So everybody comes back from the death.
Are you
This may be
pre-born?
semantic.
Yeah, what are you thinking, Arian?
Well, I think it depends on if we're going by the definition. The definition of dead says no longer living. Deprived. Well, then the next sentence says deprived of life. Things that are not alive yet are deprived of life. Another definition says not endowed with life. So that's an interesting. I'm gonna go with man. You're dead before you're born.
I think you are too.
Wait.
I don't think it necessarily presupposes life. It's just the antithesis of.
But
And
you
so-
have to be alive
To die.
to have been. No, you have to be alive.
Yeah,
have
to
been
die.
dead in the past too.
Yeah.
Because like,
But
you
then
can't-
that would
you can't
mean
refer to
No, I
everybody
don't-
that doesn't exist right now
As-
as being dead.
that's what you just did.
because they might not exist in the future. So
Precisely. So being dead means you have to have been alive first.
to like
You
I don't
kind
think
you just
so.
argued against yourself.
no, I'm saying
Yeah.
being alive means that you have. If you're alive, it means that you were dead before you were alive. But if somebody's never going to be alive, then
You and I are literally saying the same thing. The thing that
No,
means you have
you're
been
not.
I don't
dead.
like
You're
it.
not.
I don't
is
like
life.
being dead. I don't like being dead before we were born because remember what it was like before we were born?
when you were dead.
Yeah, I don't like that because I don't want that to be what like death was like. I don't want what
because you don't remember it.
well because it was nothing in my brain.
Well, or you just can't. Or when
You
you're
didn't have
on
one
Earth,
because you were dead.
Yeah, but I like to think that there's some sort of energy transfer, non-religious, some sort of energy transfer where my consciousness or my being like remains
Right.
But-
Well, you're not
yeah.
conscious of it. So as now as you know it, you was dead.
But you received energy transfer to become alive.
to become alive.
Huh.
Well,
That's
but,
true.
But also, Billy's saying that, like, okay, if you were pre-born or, dead before you were alive, that you don't want to have that be afterlife because it was nothing. But you don't know that maybe on Earth, you just can't comprehend the light before life part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm with that too, but
Like, you can't
we still have to deal with the fact that there is no recollection before.
But
life.
also maybe you weren't like, oh no.
Now you got lost in your own brain. Yeah. You temporarily died.
No, but okay, so I'm thinking of this from a Catholic perspective, so this isn't like a uniform thing, but God, quote unquote, creates you like from his own image, but that would entail that there's a point where you were not created at all, let alone alive. Like if God creates you, there has to, I guess, be a part of some sort of history or timeline where you're not even created by God, if that's what you believe in. So then when God creates you, are you then dead though? If we're like going on that,
I don't know.
that's where I get tripped up.
Avery, what are you thinking? You've always got the best takes. All of our listeners say Avery's got the best takes.
No, I have no comment. No comment.
That's a bad take.
That's another bad take.
How's that a bad take?
It's a bad. You have to have a thought behind that.
Not saying anything is the best take I'll have all year.
I think you're dead. I think you're dead before you're alive.
I don't know if I just don't know if we have the right word for it.
We got to get Brian Cox back on the show to ask him that question.
Yeah.
He'll know the answer.
I mean, I like to think that like you just start dreaming.
When you die,
yeah.
sure.
Like what's
Like you know that
DMT?
great feeling before you like go to bed, like when you're like drifting off to sleep in your dream,
Yeah.
like that.
And you
good
can't kind of
feeling.
tell what's real and what's
And
not
like
real.
there's just like a bunch of like voices start talking and you don't know what they are and they're like
Yeah.
the reading like this not happen to anybody else?
Voice time.
Voice.
What do they say?
No, like you think you're like listening to like a conversation in the background and you're not really, and then you're like suddenly in a scene and like the dream starts to take place.
I don't know if I
I
recognize
don't
that
know.
when it's happening.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Every time I fall asleep, I know that I'm asleep because my body just goes it just jerks violently.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
I wonder what that is.
I don't know.
It's actually this dates back to when we were monkeys. The free fall. No, so we're sleeping in trees, right?
Okay.
Right.
And at any point, if you felt like there was a free fall, your first reaction would be to twitch because all your muscles. So when all your muscles get relaxed and untensed, that's a point where if you're a monkey in a tree and all your muscles get untensed, that's a time where you might fall,
That's a problem.
which kills you.
So you gotta like, tighten up.
You jerk back to make sure you don't fall out of the tree. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know if it's true, but I like it.
Because you think you're falling when that jerk happens, right?
Right.
Big T, what are your thoughts on that?
I have heard that before.
Do you believe it?
It makes sense.
I would like to go back and meet my monkey ancestors. I think they'd be very chill. Do you think
common ancestor of monkeys?
common ancestor of the monkey, but like go back way generations back. Do you think that you would get along with your ancestors?
They're just kicking rocks through trees that look like field goal posts.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
That'd be lit.
Nancy
That would be
Reagan's
fun.
ancestors just chowing down bananas, swallowing them whole like vitamins.
I think it would be cool to like there was a certain time in human history that's just not recorded pre-Sumeria, Mesopotamia, where like we really don't know anything much. Like the book Sapiens, when they talk about like just like that
I
time.
never finished it.
Yeah. I think that'd be it would be really cool to go visit like Rome Mediterranean.
Just to see like what kind of
Like to see what
beings we were.
Yeah, like what the hell is going on?
Yeah, because I feel like there's a lot of like we were monkeys and then we were cavemen and then like you kind of see the lineage. I feel like there's a lot of the in between moments where you don't really know what was going on.
Well,
like when you're kind of in between the like monkey and
No, I'm
the
talking about
caveman.
like human, because humans have existed of human history. I think like civilization as we know it, like
is only like very recent.
yeah. But I feel like so actually something that I think we should do an episode on is there's this Tartarian Empire theory about this like worldwide empire that was super advanced that was erased to I don't know. It's kind of stupid. A guy was talking about it on Joe Rogan, but it was popular on TikTok before then. But like there could have been like a whole civilization similar to Rome, just that got wiped off the face of the earth, and we have no recollection of them. Like before like in the Americas or like somewhere where just
Wouldn't we have some semblance of their remains? Though?
right, but maybe time passed so long ago that they're no longer there, that we can't pick it up. Like so much of human history is like certain events could have caused it to disappear. Like
That'd be tough. That'd be.
I
tough
know,
to-
like it could be under.
Yes,
We just haven't detected it. Like we've been seeing temples in the Amazon. Remember who were we talking to about that? That people have been flying planes over the Amazon, mining companies, and they're finding old ruins in the Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Like there could have been whole civilizations there that we just don't have no historical reference for. Because let me look this up.
Billy learned something about Amazon the other day. We had Ryan Russillo in the studio, and him and Billy started talking. Great meeting of the minds between the two of them. And he was telling Billy that there were these fighters back in the old days, back in Europe, right?
No, the Amazons are from Greek mythology.
Where they would cut their
it was
boob
a
off.
tribe of female warriors who were tall, like Wonder Woman, and they cut off one of their boobs so they can.
They were
use
better
it.
at shooting a bow and arrow because
Just
they would
get out
get
of the
rid
way.
of one of the boobs. Yeah, and that's where it came from.
Very cool.
Very, very cool. All right, so that was a wide-ranging conversation. I kind of,
Okay, so think
I'm still
modern-
thinking about being dead before you're alive.
Wait. Modern humans originated.
I say yeah, man. I
So-
say yeah.
200,000 years, and we probably only have recorded history for the past 10,000 years. So what the hell happened?
Can we go back to that though for a second?
Yeah.
That's like saying you're retired before you work.
Yeah.
No, I don't
No.
think so.
No, that is different.
When
Because retired presupposes that you retired from something.
Correct. You
Unemployed.
died from your life.
No, we're not saying die. We're not saying died. We're saying dead. That's different.
So is it like unemployed?
Those are the same thing. You have to have died
not.
to have
They're
incurred
not.
death.
Died
But that's what we're arguing.
presupposes life. Under
Yes.
this definition, if we're working from the definition, it says no longer living or deprived of life.
No longer having lived in the past.
That's one. It's
He's talking
one
about the
part
second
though. You're not
definition.
acknowledging the second part is deprived of life. The other definition, the third definition, is not endowed with life, inanimate. So you're the analogy of what did you say? What was your analogy? Fucking
Retired.
Retirement.
retire. Yeah, you have to retire from something. But not being endowed with life doesn't necessarily mean you had it in the first place.
So being deprived of employment is the analogy here.
Unemployed.
If you're unemployed, you could either be unemployed by choice because you have been employed and you decide to not be employed anymore, or you could be unemployed because you haven't gotten a job yet, right?
But that's not the word.
But it's deprived of employment.
See, when you say deprived of life, that to me says like a rock. A rock is dead because it doesn't have life. Well, it exists. You're not saying a rock that has not yet come into existence is dead.
But I don't think a rock can die.
A rock cannot come into existence.
A rock can't live.
That's arguing against you.
You have to be able to live
No.
to be dead, but you don't necessarily have to have lived to be dead. We're saying if there's a possibility
So I'm saying
you could become alive, then that means that you're currently dead.
So I'm saying you have,
Scientifically, I think we're in. This might change your mind. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Everything that is in existence or will be in existence or has been in existence is the product of energy that is already in existence.
correct.
So
I don't know what that has to do with what we're saying though.
a rock can't come into existence.
Okay, sure.
Well, technically,
When Billy says
could.
technically there's some fire coming.
I mean, robots. I think we're gonna have the upcoming war of organic versus non-organic beings, robots versus humans.
So metals could come
Robots
to
are
life.
rocks.
But are they ever alive?
I think they're going to be argued. I really hope that the robots see me as like a very progressive, organic being who in the future will be like, yeah, that podcaster, he was advocating for robot rights like way back then.
You're being a nephew Billy to the human
And then they're going
race.
to be like, wait, look at that robot he had right in front of him. Did he treat his robot well?
I just want to go back to what you said, PFT, though. I'm saying you have to have lived in the past to be dead. You're saying you have to have been alive in the past or the future.
Or you can say like anything that's alive currently, at one point they were dead before they were alive.
I just fundamentally disagree with that definition. But if you're also saying that, like you said, you have to have existed at one point in the future. Like you could be dead now, then come into existence. So the only thing we're disagreeing on is we both agree you have to have come into existence at one point, meaning it doesn't really make sense to say that something is dead before it has come into existence if that's a necessity for it to die.
Right. It's tough to say that about something that has not yet come into existence. But if it has come into existence, then at one point they were dead. But so in order to be dead, you have to be alive.
We both agree that life is a necessity for death.
For
You're
death,
just
yes.
saying it can occur beforehand.
Yes, but it does not. I don't think that you can say that there's
I think it's tough to concede.
billions of dead people around us right now, but the second somebody's born, it's like, oh, that's awesome. That thing's no longer dead.
I think it's difficult to concede that life is a necessity for death and then say, but it can also be beforehand.
I think it happens.
That's just my opinion.
Death happens the second life happens. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, but I still think that goes to my point.
I think it goes to all our points.
Okay.
I think you can argue it either way. Sound off in the comment section below.
Wait, technically, you're dying.
So are you?
No, I'm not. I haven't started
You're
dying
dying?
yet. I haven't started dying yet.
Yes, you have.
No, you.
What the hell does that mean?
That
This
means,
is classic Billy being like, oh, you're a boomer, you're over the hill.
no 25. You're when your brain. That's when you start dying.
No.
What?
Yeah.
The moment you're born is when you start to die.
No, you
It's
start
like a ticking
growing.
time bomb.
You start growing.
But you're 1 second closer to death every second you live.
Good point.
Now
Oh,
what?
Billy.
Now what?
When do you
Just
start?
When do you start dying? Billy's Googling
You
it.
literally
Google
like,
will tell us the answer to this ancient philosophical riddle.
Yep. Our bodies are born to die, and the decay starts to kick in after we turn 55.
Oh, yeah. Suck
Oh,
my
so-
dick.
No,
Billy.
we humans start dying at approximately age 21. Fuck, so I am dying. Damn.
We're all dying.
This is
Well, aren't
when
we all dying all the
anabolism
time?
changes.
what is the anabolism change?
Do you say cannibalism?
Yeah.
Do you start dying at 25? People are thinking 25
Why are people not thinking birth?
because that's when you start living.
You get closer to death.
But you're closer to death.
When do people stop growing and start aging? That's somewhere between 28 and 35. Yep.
Okay, you're talking about growing, not
You're dying.
dying.
Well, I think growing is not. Growing
It's
means you're
different.
not dying.
There's,
No, that's not
it's
it.
different.
Dying is
You're
when you
ex-
stop growing.
No.
No.
Dying. Okay. Okay. I was closer to death today than I was yesterday. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Fair.
So I am in the act of dying.
Well,
Slowly.
maybe not closer to death, because if you live twice as long as you are now, you were closest to death when you were 0 days old. That's when you can be super close.
Why?
So
I
if,
was-
so if you were
Because I
dead,
wasn't
if you're
born?
dead before you were born,
Yeah, if you're dead before you're
I'm
born.
Then
I'm with Maddie. here.
like you're a ticking time bomb.
Definition
basically.
says ceasing to live, approaching death, expiring.
Yeah.
So if it's technically she's right, but it doesn't mean you can't grow in between.
Yeah,
I would say-
growing
I would say
and dying are not mutually exclusive.
Also, Billy, I can die before I'm fully
agree.
grown.
correct. Yeah, you could
but
die.
naturally dying.
Okay, but I'm not talking about naturally dying.
You're adding all kind of caveats here.
Yeah,
no,
I'm talking
I'm-
about what if you walked down on 7th Avenue after
I
this
got
and you
hit
got hit
by
by a bus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then what?
That'd suck.
Would I? But then I'd be
you'd
dying
closer-
on the street.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be. Ah, man, this.
This one's in.
We're melting
this,
Billy's
this is a
brain.
brain
No,
pretzel.
the lion's mane is still buzzing. My brain's in intact shape.
That's an interesting philosophical question, though.
That's a scary
Yeah,
one.
it really
It
is.
is. And if that's what death is like, then that was fine. I didn't mind it.
I didn't know to mind. I didn't know to mind it.
Yeah. I was doing all right.
Should we all go do ayahuasca together?
Yeah, probably.
I'm so down. Hey, yo, I actually got invited to a shaman to do it in LA.
Like recently?
What's up, PFT? Yeah.
You gonna do it?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. But I gotta wait till I'm physically ready. Like I've been chilling. I've been enjoying my summer. I've been drinking. I've been eating.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a little. I'm gonna make sure that I'm physically fit. And then when I'm physically fit, it's gonna take me about a month. When I'm physically fit, I then have to like purge. So you gotta eat
Yeah.
like nothing but veggies and I think non-acidic stuff for like 3 days, and
think-
then you're ready to do it.
I think you also have to stop drinking for like a month.
Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
So
Can I
I'm not ready for that yet.
can I just ask what ayahuasca is?
yeah, it's from.
Yes.
It's
Like,
it's a root that grows in the Amazon,
okay.
and if you turn it into a tea somehow, I don't exactly know the extraction process.
Okay.
Then they make it into a tea. You sip it, and then it's got like hallucinogenic properties where it releases some things that are deep inside your brain, some chemicals. I think it releases DMT, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Am I misinformed
Yeah.
about that?
It
So DMT is.
I know what DMT is.
Yeah, so it's like what's released when
When
you die, and apparently gives you completely new perspectives on things. Aaron Rodgers
Right.
famously has taken ayahuasca. He
Right.
claims that it helped him. He's much happier now than he has been. And he talked about that a little bit on our show. And Aaron, you were saying, I came back into this room and these guys were like, oh yeah, Arian has Aaron Rodgers' number and you should hit him up and ask him for his perspective. Let him know that you're thinking about trying ayahuasca.
I would definitely hit him up. I would do that.
Because
See if you see what he's talking about.
I listened to your guys' interview. Very proud of you. This is a really great interview. About the ayahuasca stuff, and like I kind of get the whole like Aaron Rodgers like.
Time
you
out,
know.
bro. Billy, what is you?
Billy, put that axe away.
What the fuck is you doing?
Billy, you know that's not your axe, and we have rules
I'm allowed
about
to
we
play
have,
with the axe.
we have safety rules about sharp edges in the studio. So, Aaron, we had Liver King, one of Billy's heroes, in the studio last week, and his goodbye
I don't get
gift.
that shit.
It's funny.
He's funny.
It's
He's actually
it's a bit.
He's a nice guy, and some of the stuff that he says,
cool.
it makes sense. Not like in a, I don't believe everything that he says, but I think he's got some good points that he makes about just being healthier and staying away from like certain technology when possible. But he left us with 2 axes in the studio. He goes, and you'll have to listen to PMT. I believe that's Friday or maybe next Monday when it comes out. When he's ending the interview, and he goes, I brought you guys 2 tokens of my appreciation. They're 2 special handcrafted axes that I want you guys to have. There are 2 of them. And Billy lightens up in the studio, and he's like, oh, he brought me an axe. It's like, no, he just said that he brought 2 of them. He brought them for me and Big Cat. And so he gives us these axes. Now Billy's been trying to steal these axes from us for the last 2 weeks. Billy, you're going to cut yourself. You're going to hurt yourself. But they are badass.
They're sick axes.
Yeah, put the axe down. I'm going to confiscate the axe.
But I don't get the ayahuasca. Like, I didn't get how you ingested it / what it did for you.
I think it is. It's in a.
So ayahuasca, yeah, they boil it in like a stew, and so it's literally a root that they boil,
Okay.
and the chemical composition mixes with the heat. And I don't know the science behind it, but they've been doing it for like, I don't know,
Forever.
hundreds of years, maybe thousands, maybe 1,000. I don't know how deep it goes, but those people have been doing it for a very long time, and it's basically, they say, a gateway into like seeing the universe.
So do you have to get invited to do it?
You can.
There are retreats that you can go on. There's certain
I'm sure
places in
that
the
you can
rainforest.
seek it out. Yeah, I'm sure you can seek it out. But there's a shortcut way, which is DMT. Ayahuasca is like a 3-hour or 4-hour, something like that, long trip or ride or whatever they say, where DMT only lasts like 15 to 20 minutes.
Right.
But everybody that takes DMT always says the same thing. They say, I felt like, they always say time dissolves. They say like the notion of time just goes away, and you kind of like just become the universe. Is basically everybody's description of it. And so it's like when they come back to, they're like, how long was I gone for? And they're like 15 minutes. And they're like, that's insane. I feel like I lived a lifetime in there.
Yeah.
And so that's always fascinating to me, how time can be distorted in that way. But it's across the board. That's what always fascinates me about this certain chemical experience, is that people's experience is so similar about the description of how they feel one with the universe, right? It's kind of like hippie-ish to say, but like when they say it, I feel that on a very slight mode whenever I like microdose mushrooms. Like when you listen to music, it feels like you are the music. It's a very weird thing to describe it unless you felt it, but just like you become a part of your environment in a very real way. And they say that it's like to the nth degree when with ayahuasca or DMT. So I'm excited about the shit.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Hope I don't die.
I don't think anyone dies from it. They can feel like they're dying when they take it.
Yeah, but I always feel that's what gives me anxiety about those kind of shits. Is like in my mind, I'm like, oh, you're gonna be the first one. That I always go there.
Yeah.
My mind always goes there.
Built different.
Honestly, I heard the story of a guy who did it and lived like in his head, even though it was only like 5-10 minutes. In his head, he lived a whole life, had a wife, and had kids, and
Bruh,
lived a whole life.
that's the episode I told you to look at in the Star Trek episode. That's what happens to Picard.
Oh.
Damn, Billy, did you pull a Ready Player One on Arian?
No, I didn't. But he lived a whole life, and then after the trip was over, he was super sad because he was like, I lost my wife and kids.
Yeah, bro, it's a real
That
thing.
sucks.
Kids and shit in
And
there.
he was like, fuck, like these made up people in his brain. He was like, fuck, man, like I can't play. I'll never play catch with my kids again. And he's like, and this kid was like 22 or like 23, and it was just like,
That's lit though.
Then he
That's
goes
kinda
like
lit.
looking across the world to try to find his kids for the rest of his life that he made up.
well, no, I mean,
What if they existed?
maybe it was. So that's why people think
That's
it was a
the mind
different
fuck.
parallel. They think it was like a parallel
the-
universe.
That's the mind fuck. Like there's a parallel universe, and there are actually things that you're doing in other universes.
So I went to
Who knows, man?
I went to the Amazon 2012, and I was in Ecuador, and I was going around the rainforest, and the guide that was showing us, he was from the Quechua tribe, which is the local tribe in Ecuador, and he showed us the ayahuasca tree, and I was like, oh, do you guys ever like drink out of that? And he was like, no, that's just for white people that come down here. So he was saying like it's not something that the natives ever do, but tourists do it.
Damn.
He was saying like no, he did say some of the shamans will do it occasionally, but
Right.
it's not a common practice down there. It's something that's just starting to be explored.
Oh,
Right.
speaking of South American drinks, actually, I'm gonna bring it in because I have some. Have you guys ever heard of mate?
Yeah,
But like how not yerba mate, but how they actually like do mate.
no,
So I have these cups. We're gonna do some mate probably on Wednesday. You want to talk about buzzing? You think coffee's a good buzz? Check out some mate.
okay,
This stuff is cool. You get like this gourd, and then you put this mate, which looks like a brick of mid weed, and then you put some of it in, and you like people just carry around thermoses of hot water to just put in their mate. All like it's like people are addicted to this stuff. Like in Uruguay, like look, they drink it. The senators in parliament, they all have these thermoses of hot water to put in their mate. It's like a whole thing.
okay.
It's like another plant down. It's more of like a coffee, but it gives you a sick buzz, and everyone's addicted to it down there in Uruguay, Paraguay, northern Argentina, southern Brazil.
I'm in.
We're gonna do some.
Let's try it. Before we get into presidential shit, which I promise we will talk about, I'm dealing with an injury right now. I'm a little bit scared, so I went out and did a club fitting earlier today for TaylorMade, and I swung a 3-wood, and I'm going to blame Avery on this because I was trying to do the thing where I was like feeling like I was dapping somebody up on my downswing, and I think I really fucked up my either bicep or elbow. I tweeted out the swing that had happened because Memes was videoing me when I took the swing, and everybody's responding to me in the comment section is freaking me out that I have a torn UCL, so the ligament in your arm. It's the stuff that you need Tommy John surgery
Tommy John.
on.
Yeah, no, we can't have you getting
But
Tommy
that
John.
means I'm going to come back throwing like 97, 98. I'll come back even stronger. But
You're like
it's
the rookie.
but it's like a rookie of the year.
Yeah.
It's like a year-long recovery process.
My brother just got it last year. He's still not fully recovered.
I'm too old for that shit. I can't be
But,
taking
I mean, what are you trying to like? What are
Do
you
you
trying to
need it?
Yeah,
recover?
you don't
What are you
need
really
it.
trying to recover to?
do
You know
I
what
need
mean?
my
Like,
right arm? Yeah, I need my right arm.
No,
No,
but
but
you
you
need
don't
your
need-
UCL.
You don't unless you don't need it. You're
you
not
can-
throwing.
You can get a surgery and you can go on about your daily. Like your podcast will still be fire, bro. Like, what do you need?
Do you even need it to golf?
I don't, probably.
Yeah, you do.
It's not like I'm a
How
big
often do you
golfer.
golf, though? That's what
Never,
I'm saying.
like twice in the last year.
But let's see if you got it. If you got it in like
Yeah.
September after like you're done with your
Can you
That
lift?
hurts to go like that.
Does it hurt to push?
to put pressure on
I haven't
it.
tried pushing. It hurts.
if
It
you do
hurts
a
a little bit
push-up-
to push. If I go like bicep, like that hurts
Oh,
like shit right
you
now.
can't-
You look jacked though.
Thank you.
Dude, your gains are gonna get.
I know. Like, what if I'm gonna be? It would be funny if I just only worked out my left arm for the next year and got like fucking swole on my left side.
You would have to. I mean, you'd have to get like screws and a plate and stuff.
I don't want it. I'm scared now. I'm scared. Maybe I'll get some good pain medicine for like 2 weeks. That'll be cool.
I think if you actually have to
Yeah,
get it, it's like your ACL where you can kind of like manage without it.
Do you want
for a
me
little
to? Do you want me to order you the research chemicals?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah.
Can I use the company card?
Order away. How much are they?
Let me see. BPC.
Whenever Billy says,
are-
"Can I order you the research chemicals?" my answer is an instantaneous yes.
Okay, BPC 157. Okay, that's
Like I
60 bucks.
I don't really. Yeah, you can use my card.
Pharma grade peptide.
I don't really
I-
use my right arm. Like I use it for driving. I use it for getting around, unlocking my door. What else do I use
Uh-huh.
my right arm for?
It's just
What else?
it's a
No,
peptide.
that's it, Arian. That's
So
the
I'm
only
gonna get
things.
you BPC 157 is a peptide chain consisting of 15 amino acids. It is considered synthetic because the particular sequence does not exist in nature.
This is another ad, bruh.
No, it's not. It is derived from a protective protein found in the stomach.
What?
Researchers have conducted numerous rodent studies on BPC 157 that show it has been protective effects extending beyond the stomach and intestinal tract. BPC 157 has been shown to benefit ulcers in the stomach, intestinal damage. bone and joint healing and growth rates and organ damage has some influences on the brain. Researchers have observed marked protective effects when BPC 157 is administered to rats. So
You're giving me rat medicine.
Yeah, what are we doing?
no, this is a research chemical. Don't try this at home.
Yeah, Billy, I'm going to take my card back, actually. You've successfully talked your way out of this one.
I'm going to buy it.
No, I don't.
So-
I don't authorize this purchase.
It's
Billy,
about to-
if you buy me
It's about
this,
to be a crime.
No,
Yeah,
no,
if you
just
buy me
just
this-
get some insulin syringes and just shoot it right into your elbow.
Nope.
No, I'm
this
out.
Is, nope. This is
I'm out
crime.
on all this.
What?
Give him the card back.
Give me the card back. Don't commit wire fraud,
Okay,
Billy.
you go have a weak arm when I'm here giving you the answers,
Oh shit.
shooting you up with 157
Weak arm,
BPC
old weak arm.
157. You probably wouldn't even have to get surgery after all these shots.
If I do have what my fear is, and I have to get like an elbow surgery, it's just gonna be a pain in the ass.
I know,
It's not.
dude. You can't.
What? What are you and Arian just talking about jacking off?
No, I mean you can't.
Jack off is what you're saying.
According to other podcasts of this company, you can't jack off.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
If you're
married.
If you're married,
Oh really? You can't jack off if you're married?
which is horseshit. I'm not married, but that's horseshit.
Who says you can't jack off if you're married?
That's a bad marriage.
That's what I'm saying. Oh, who said it?
Yeah,
Me and Alex Bennett. Mean Girl said it.
I walked.
Well, her marriage counselor.
I walked on OnlyFans so they could run on OnlyFans. People forget that.
Yeah, you did have an OnlyFans.
I was the first one. I trailblazed for them.
You
They
are
should be thanking me.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep you guys updated on the elbow. I'm not worried about the jacking off part. I'm just worried about the doing everything else part.
I'm ordering these.
Okay, on your own card.
Just expensive.
Let that be clear.
I'll just put it into expenses.
Okay, so let's talk about presidential crimes. How about it?
Yeah.
Let's get into it. A lot of presidents commit crimes. We get into this with Hassan in a little bit, but my theory is, or my actual take is that if you become president, you should be arrested the second that you end your tenure, and you should have to spend the rest of your life in jail. Do you think anybody would actually want to become president
Well, think
if
about
that was
it.
the bargain that you make?
I think
about it.
people good presidents would get crazier.
Can you pardon yourself?
No.
Technically they're already in jail after, because think about it. All the Secret Service detail they have. When you become president, you're at a point of fame and exposure that you're in a prison of protection.
I've also heard that if you become president, you should never tell everybody what your favorite food is. A lot of presidents, that was a big question that they used to ask presidents back in the day. Oh, what do you really like to eat? Because the second you say what your favorite food is, that's all you're going to be served for the rest of your life. Like everywhere you go.
I would love that, bro. Give me Japanese ramen for the rest of my life. I would die eating that every day.
That's your favorite food?
Oh my God, yes.
I like a good bowl of ramen too, with a nice runny yolk on the egg.
Oh yes, and when the pork is cooked to perfection, and the noodle and the broth. Oh, I'm hungry as shit. I haven't ate today.
A little spicy ramen.
Yeah,
I like that too. So after you're president, Bill, you're saying that you're essentially in jail?
I mean, what's the saying about people who like live in like gigantic mansions, but it's like a prison?
Michael Jackson, who is innocent, by the way, he had to buy out a supermarket and paid people to pretend like they were shopping just so he can feel normal. That's wild. That's
Fame is a prison, so presidents are kind of in prison.
Yeah, I mean you're not free to do everything that somebody without that same, but it's the bargain that you make. If you want to become president, you have to know that the consequence could be going to jail right after, which I would do. I would put every single one of them in prison together. So
In a president prison.
They get to play cards.
Isn't that
they
what
get gangs.
Isn't I kind of think that's a thing already. Like Obama,
prison?
yeah, they're all in basically, like they have to go to that lunch where they all are.
Wait, they get together?
Yeah, the former presidents all get together. It's like the Masters. Like, isn't there the lunch?
The Masters dinner? Yeah. So who gets to decide what's on the menu?
Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, no, like all the past presidents dinner, Defense Association.
Oh, like what? 3 of them alive or something like that, right?
Yeah. Do you think what would Bill Clinton serve?
Well, isn't it? Is Jimmy
Oysters.
Carter the oldest president alive right now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So was
He
it?
about, now that we mentioned him, odds are he dies.
That was bad. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
bad.
Fuck. We just killed Jimmy Carter.
We need what's
Another
an
one.
acceptable amount of time to where it's not
6
our
months.
fault? Oh, that's a long
That's-
time.
yeah,
I was
no,
thinking
that's-
like 2.
2 months.
I mean, you know who else might go? Have you seen Bill Clinton lately, dog? He
Yeah,
looks
dude.
horrible.
Yeah, he's.
He
very
looks
skinny.
worse. Like, he looks worse than Joe Biden.
He's a harvest more souls.
Yeah, get on that adrenochrome, Bill. Jimmy
have no
Carter.
excuse
Okay,
to be
I'll give
looking
Jimmy
like
Carter
that.
2 months. 2 months.
Jimmy
from
Carter
today.
is 97 years old.
2 months from
Yeah, he
today.
got-
It is August 15th. As I'm speaking this, if he's
That's-
alive,
This is bad.
if he's
So
alive
bad.
through Columbus Day, then we're gonna count that as a massive dub for
This
our
is
man
bad.
JC. Okay. If he
What do we
doesn't-
do? What do we do if he doesn't make it?
I think we sell
We
big
had-
ass airbrush T-shirts that say like "R.I.P. Jimmy Carter" and it's got his big smiling face and then like a peanut farm on it, and then like him handing the Panama Canal away to Panama.
This one
Yeah.
can't count against us though. He's 97.
I know, but like if he
Well,
dies
then you
soon-
can't give us John Madden. Then we can't get John Madden. We got
I mean,
I
how
think it's
old was he?
Well, he started.
70s.
yo. That would be some merch to sell. Just graveyards
he was 85.
of
the kill.
well,
Well, the macrodosing kill count.
yeah.
holding his scythe, yeah, with just graveyards of people that
People are going to start offering money for like
To not
inadvertent assassinations.
or to not mention us.
Yeah.
be getting investigated.
Yeah, Jimmy Carter, good guy. I think Big T, we agree on that, right?
Great man, not
Great
a
man.
great president.
Yeah. But I don't think that great people can be good presidents.
I would agree with that.
I think that
I think the worst
There's
people.
too
He's
much
still
stuff
like
that
he
you
still
have to
like
do.
builds houses for Habitat for Humanity, and I think I think he and his wife still teach Sunday school at their church.
Yep.
Like very great person.
I think like the worse you think a person is, probably the better they are at president.
you think so?
Yeah.
So I mean, this mentality is what got Germany the H man.
It was.
Oh,
a joke.
speaking of which, this might be a hot take, but
Gotta be
I googled
careful.
some. It is what it is. I googled some of Hitler's paintings. Bruh, them shits is kind of they kind of good. Like, what do you want me to do? They not bad paintings.
I mean, we needed him to be better though.
Ah, man, I mean, he got rejected. The bar must have been high.
I was
Look
gonna
at him.
say, how about the rest of that art school? Apparently,
Was
Man,
there
that
some
must
like
have been cracking.
were
When
there
you
some
look-
like legacy admissions that got in ahead of him?
Bruh,
Is that what the issue
I
was there?
I was skeptical. I don't know where I heard it. There was like Hitler's paintings weren't bad, and I was like, "Come on, they couldn't have been that good." But like when you look at them, it's like, dog, like it's not bad.
A
Like,
much
it's not
much better artist than George W. Bush.
killing George W. Bush. I mean, no pun intended.
He had some well-trained German shepherds.
Okay, what we're not going to do is turn
That was a joke.
That's not a bad painting.
I'm telling you, bro.
It reminds me a little bit of the watercolor that Pam did on The Office of Dunder Mifflin. Hold that up again.
I gotta turn the brightness down.
See, doesn't that remind you of that painting a little bit? What if that's what it was
Telling you.
based off of? George
Watch that.
W. Bush paintings. Didn't he paint one of himself naked?
Hitler
No,
painted
ain't no
himself
way.
naked?
No, George W.
Oh.
Oh shit, he did a pretty good painting of Dirk Nowitzki.
Who painted Dirk Nowitzki?
Oh,
George Bush did. That's great.
It was called something in Prague, like fog. Oh, man, this light is so damn bright.
This is a great painting of Dirk.
Dude, we're not separating the art from the artist
On George Bush?
on H-Man.
We're not. He also did Putin, Pooty Poot, as he called him. Great nickname. He did one of Jay Leno. I would like a George Bush painting. Oh yeah, here's the weird one. Oh wait, no, that's
These
that's
paintings
fr-
are
that's from the Onion.
trash. You can tell why you didn't get into art school. My mom paints. She has way better paintings.
Then George Bush.
A lot of these guys.
All right, so let's talk about some more presidential crimes. I guess let's talk about the one that's in the news right now, the one that's under investigation. FBI raided Donald Trump's estate at Mar-a-Lago, his resort that he lives in, and they're trying to get some documents back. He's held on to a few artifacts. I made the analogy, it's like when Peyton Manning, when he retires from the NFL, he still gets to keep all of his footballs that he threw for important touchdowns. Why shouldn't the president keep like the old nuke codes and designs that he gets? I think that that's something that we should look into. But the FBI is, they raided him. They took, I think, 13 boxes. I don't know. They took a bunch of boxes out of Mar-a-Lago. And everyone's like, oh, the Espionage Act is being used against Donald Trump. I don't think that Donald Trump is like a espionage mastermind. He's not like committing dead drops and like selling secrets to the Russians or anything like that. I think he just is hanging on to his shit, and people were like, hey, we need those top secret documents back because Mar-a-Lago has notoriously bad security and they've got foreign nationals going around everywhere, including some like documented spies that have been trying to infiltrate. And it's very easy. Basically, if you have like $200,000 in a checking account, you can infiltrate Mar-a-Lago if you just donate to the right people. So they're worried about those secrets falling into the wrong hands. And now people are like, oh, Donald Trump is selling nuclear secrets to Russia or to China or whatever. I don't think that's what's going on. But I do think that like by the letter of the law, he's probably breaking the law. And they're going to be able to figure out how they want to punish him if they do at all. But I don't think this is like a smoking gun into Donald Trump, like trying to undermine the United States. I could be very wrong about this. Who knows? Like maybe he has given them to Jared or Don Jr. or something like that, and they've been trying to wheel and deal him on the open market. I don't think that's the case. Knowing everything that I do, I think I know a lot about Donald Trump. I think usually with him, the like easiest explanation is usually the right one, and he's just a guy that would like hang on to all his shit and be like, no, you're not getting this back. This belongs to me now. I'm the president. I get to hold on to my nuke codes or whatever they were. But who knows? Maybe the Department of Justice is going to be investigating him for some actual crimes. But I also think that it probably pales in comparison to a lot of the stuff that presidents do when they're in office and then for the rest of their lives after they get out of office. So
one of the big parts is they actually took his passports, so he can't even travel right now. He actually put on, what's the app that he tweets out of Truth. He doesn't, excuse me, Avery, he doesn't tweet, he truths. Sorry, he truths.
And then you can retruth.
My fault. He said that, wow, in the raid by the FBI of Mar-a-Lago, they stole my 3 passports, 1 expired, along with everything else. This is an assault on a political opponent at a level never seen before in our country. Third world.
Did you say third world?
In all
country?
Not in all caps. He just said third world. Third world with a exclamation point at the end.
You saying this is like America's a third world country? That's.
But in third world countries, like it's actually a mark of a good democracy, I would say, if a former president breaks the law and they're investigated, as opposed to just having somebody that's never going to be investigated for anything bad that they do after they were president. I don't know. I don't know if I'm not buying the third world thing, but he also said he started talking about Obama and his archives that were moved to Chicago, and then what did he say about the fact that many of them contained nuclear? Hang on, I'm going to look this up.
I'm just surprised that they see him as a flight risk.
They detained him?
No, they didn't detain him, but they took his passports. I mean, what else would they?
They took Trump's passport?
That's what I was just talking about.
So he's probably the most recognizable person in the world, right? I don't think that Donald Trump could lay low anywhere.
Yeah, they were like,
or Ronaldo.
There was one. It was like he just got a.
Yeah, you think so? Him and Ronaldo.
We were actually.
They're both the same size, right? 6'3",
probably both about the same height.
225.
We were talking about. We were doing some comparisons, just talking in the office recently, and that's the one we came down to that was the closest for most recognizable person in the world.
Also, all of his planes say Trump in huge letters on the side. He's not just slipping away.
No,
that's a good poll for Twitter, Madeline.
Cristiano Ronaldo is the most recognizable person in the world.
You would or would not?
Would say.
I wouldn't know him in a crowd.
Cristiano Ronaldo?
Actually,
you would know.
But every single person in Europe, South America, and Asia would.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mad Dog, you would see like a group of people and you'd be like,
just
that
kidding.
guy is really hot.
You would
just
notice
kidding.
him.
Yeah, just kidding. I do. I do know who that is. Yeah. I just don't watch soccer. But you're right. If I just saw him walking down the street, I'd be like, I think that's
How
that
many
soccer player.
Instagram followers does he have?
Like
He was the
300
number
or
one.
400 million.
He's the number one athlete for social media posts. He gets 2 million a post.
Okay, so
451.
so Trump truthed. President Barack Hussein Obama kept 33 million pages of documents, much of them classified, Trump wrote. How many of them pertain to nuclear? Word is lots. So that's a word on the street. People are buzzing about how much nuclear Obama has.
But like hypothetically, this could be just a thing that most presidents do, but they're
They're
just trying to.
The National Archives, they're in charge of collecting all that shit. And so they keep there's a process that you go through. I think, again, the simplest explanation is most likely the correct one. And I think that other White Houses, especially Obama, they were staffed with people that were nerds, for lack of a better term, that cared very deeply about the nerdiest parts of government and the political process. And so they probably made sure to dot all their I's and cross all their T's when the archives were being transferred. And Trump had a lot of people in his White House that were from way outside the political sphere that had no experience in government, kind of by design, right? He ran as an outsider, drained the swamp. And so a bunch of people that didn't care about norms. Obama's team loved political norms. There's one thing you can say about them, like they loved that shit. And so Trump's team was like, we don't give a shit about like the National Archives or whatever. We're just going to take what's in the office because that's ours now, because we printed those papers out while we were here. It belongs to us. And so the National Archives got pissed off and they're like, hey, we need to have this back. And then that's how this whole investigation started. And we was talking about the Chicago stuff with Obama. The National Archives are like, no, they belong to us. We've moved them and we've kept track of them because that's our job. So I think it's just Trump broke a rule. It sounds like he broke rules more than he broke laws. But then once the papers and shit are in danger of just being spied upon by somebody that's in Mar-a-Lago, that's when the government stepped in and they requested politely to get the documents back. And then Trump's like, I'll give you some of them back. And he held on to some of them afterwards. I personally don't think that he's like doing espionage shit. I don't think that he's like James Bond. But it is funny to think that they confiscated his passport because, like, you're right. He's got his name on the side of all of his planes. He would never be caught dead flying commercial. That's just a fact. Like, can you imagine that? Like Trump sitting coach, trying to fly over to Liechtenstein to lay low for a while. And then once he got somewhere, Trump couldn't just sit in a room by himself without having people pay attention to him. That's the shit that he loves. So I think there's never been anybody that's less of a flight risk than Donald Trump.
That would be funny seeing him sitting coach though.
Yeah. He like shaves his head, puts on a fake mustache. That'd be funny. I would actually watch that. I would watch like Donald on the Lam, a reality show about Donald Trump trying to travel from place to place, trying to blend in with the locals.
He's one of those guys that definitely has zero organizational skills because other people do it all for him.
Yeah.
So like I couldn't see him being able to like deal with a kiosk or any sort of like buying a ticket online. Like, do you think he could possibly do any of that?
Imagine Donald Trump going to the airport and he's trying to fly United somewhere and the plane's delayed. And then they delay the plane and he gets a snack at Cinnabon or whatever.
He tries to go to the United Club and he only has like a Delta Club card. He's like, why doesn't this work?
Yeah. Yeah. So he's like trying to kill time at the airport and then they undelay his plane, which is bullshit. I fucking hate that.
That shouldn't be allowed.
I agree. That pisses me off. I'm teed off about that. Well, imagine Trump dealing with that. The plane takes off after they had delayed it and then undelayed it. And he was off like in the food court getting some Sparrow. And he comes back. He's like, I don't understand this. Why's my... I would love to see Trump just try to live life as a normal person. It'd be high comedy.
When do you think the last time he flew commercial was?
Probably never.
Never.
You don't think maybe in the 70s, 80s?
In the 70s,
he was-
that was his personal Vietnam, right? Trying not to get STDs
Oh,
while
right,
having
yeah.
sex with everyone. Probably
Is
the
that what he
60s.
said?
Yeah. Yeah, he said that was his personal Vietnam, like trying to avoid herpes. Or crabs, whatever was going around back then. I think probably in the 60s he probably flew coach because his dad was rich, but he wasn't that rich.
How old is he? He was flying in the 60s?
He's what, 76 or something?
Yeah, I think he was probably flying.
As a kid, maybe?
Yeah, 76.
Yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
his parents
So he
had
was
some
born
money.
in 46. So, I mean,
God damn, that's crazy to think about.
He was
Yeah.
born in 46.
So that's the latest example of a potential presidential crime. But there's some others going back through the days. Billy had one that he brought up. Ulysses S. Grant got arrested for speeding.
Yeah, I can flesh that one out a little more.
Yeah, so we talked about it a little bit with Hassan.
So here's the story. Policeman West, so the guy's name was, the police officer that got him was a former Union Army veteran who fought in the Civil War. He was African American, and he fought for Ulysses S. Grant. And so what happened was Policeman West held his hand up for them to stop. The story said Grant was driving a pair of fast steppers, and he had some difficulty in halting them. But this he managed to do. Grant was a bit testy. "Well, officer," he said, "what do you want with me?" West replied, "I want to inform you, Mr. President, that you are violating the law by speeding along this street. Your fast driving, sir, has set the example for a lot of other gentlemen." The president apologized, promised it wouldn't happen again, and galloped away. But Grant could not curb his need for speed. The next evening, West was patrolling at the corner of 13th and M Streets when the president came barreling through again, this time speeding so fast that it took him an entire block to stop. Now, Grant was cocky and had a smile on his face, the Star article said, that made him look like a schoolboy had been caught in a guilty act by a teacher. "I do, Mr. President," West said. Grant had an excuse for his speeding, not unlike one, no doubt, being given somewhere right now. He had no idea he'd been going so fast. West was sympathetic but firm. "I'm very sorry, Mr. President, to have to do it," he said, "for you are the chief of the nation and I am nothing but a policeman. But duty is duty, sir, and I'll have to place you under arrest." It's worth pointing out that so that was the story. Ulysses S. Grant was taken to the police station, cuffed, detained, given a court date the next day for speeding. So he's the only U.S. president to have ever been arrested.
Interesting. So was he drunk?
Probably.
Grant was a big drinker. I know that.
Yeah.
Could you get a DUI on a horse?
No.
What can you get a DUI on?
Actually, I was thinking about this. Horses.
Pretty much anything.
Can you get a DUI? Let me check that out.
A bike.
Yeah, if you drive, if in the
DUI on a
street,
bike.
you could do it on a bike. You could do it on a. I almost got one in a.
Horses and horse-drawn
jet ski.
carriages.
I almost got one on a jet ski.
What'd you do?
So I don't know how I passed this test to this day, bro. But I got breathalyzed and everything. But me and the homie, we took a whole bottle of Fifth to the Head. This was when we was in college, right before the 2008 season. We was in some river, and we was in jet skis, and we was like circling each other and like splashing each other. And the water police came, and they told us to pull over, like by their boat or whatever it was, and we did. And I pretended like I missed, and I missed on purpose, so I had to circle back around. So I scooped some river water and like I swashed in my mouth because I had to figure they was gonna smell it on me. So I swashed it. You know, kind of like scrape your tongue with your teeth. So I did that, and I blew, and I thought, I was like, oh shit, I'm about to go to jail. Cause I didn't know they was gonna do all that, but I blew, and I blew negative. Like I guess I was within the legal limit. I don't know how I
Scraping your tongue with your teeth.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened.
I don't know either. I don't know if that did it either, or maybe they had a bad breathalyzer. I don't know what the case is. I don't know.
What do you think would have happened if you had gotten in trouble for that?
Oh man, shit, a lot. I'd have went undrafted for sure.
Yeah, that would have been crazy. Like that's a major sliding doors moment.
I feel like
I mean, I went undrafted anyway, but they'd have been if I was drunk driving it's normal. I mean, it's
probably get drafted
normal.
by the Colts.
I think it's like a normal kid shit to do, but they would have been like, yo, it's a behavior problem type shit. I had already had that shit following me anyway, but yeah, you can get a DUI on anything.
Huh.
you can get it on a scooter too, a razor scooter.
You can get them on birds and limes. I think it has to be electric nowadays, at least. I think.
No, you can get one on a horse. A lot of Amish get DUIs operating horse-drawn carriages. I've been looking it up.
Really?
That'd be funny as
Yeah,
shit.
the young, especially the younger Amish.
Are you on Amish TikTok?
Don't tell them.
Do Amish? Are they allowed to use TikTok?
They're not.
I'm on Amish
Yeah.
TikTok.
Don't
They
snitch
shouldn't
on the
What, are they going to
Amish.
listen to this?
They're not allowed to drink either.
I bet you they make their own alcohol.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, wait,
some real
don't-
strong shit.
Moonshine.
Didn't you say they had like a year or something where they get to go.
Rumspringa.
There you go. There you go.
No,
So
I'm on
maybe
Amish
that-
TikTok right now. It's crazy.
You know what? If any Amish people on Rumspringa listen to this show,
Please DM us.
we want to have you on macrodosing, maybe on nanodosing.
I think
as-
I have
as
one
was
on
to
my.
be.
I think I have one on my list.
like you're
An
Amish guy.
person. I want to talk to somebody that's on Rumspringa to see like how's it going.
Yeah. What are you up to?
Yeah, is it everything you thought it would be?
Or if you know somebody that is on Rumspringa, have them hit us and see if they're willing to tell their story.
I bet you we're like actually not giving them enough credit, and I bet Amish people are more tuned in than we think.
All of them got cell phones.
Yeah, that's how they have TikTok.
They buy cell phones.
Right. I thought they weren't allowed to.
I think
They all have like illegal, like, some
Yeah.
people at that age buy fake IDs. They buy.
they buy cell phones. I think it's more of a. I bet you there's more levels to it, kind of how religion works, where you can even like be super orthodox or super lay about it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like how, or like you can be a Mennonite. I think a Mennonite is kind of like a diet Amish.
Diet Amish.
Is that offensive?
No,
The
it's-
Mennonites. I told you guys the story about the Mennonites, right?
I don't know.
The one where they approach dudes in bars and ask them to help expand their gene pool.
Oh yeah, I have heard about that. There are also some other presidents that have committed crimes. Like we know for a fact, Bill Clinton committed crimes while he was in office. Adultery. Adultery is a crime, isn't it?
Oh, it's not in every
It's just against the Ten Commandments.
In what
No,
state? No, in some
no,
states it's a crime.
In the military, you can get court-martialed for cheating on your wife. So as the head of the military,
Yeah,
actually, I don't know if that
Commander-in-Chief.
applies.
But it is a crime in some states, in some
Yeah.
areas. I think I don't know what states, but
It
cheated.
is adultery.
Is it a crime to get your dick sucked in the White House?
Well, adultery.
That's a crime in some states.
Oh, adultery
Yeah.
is
That's
still,
still on the books.
Dude, it's a crime in New York.
Really?
Yeah.
So Trump is definitely guilty.
New York State penal law, a person is guilty
It's
of
a
adultery when he or she engages in sexual intercourse with another person at a time when he or she has a living spouse or the other person has a living spouse. Adultery is a Class B misdemeanor punishable by up to 3 months in jail or 1 year of probation.
Fine up to $500.
So yeah, so Bill Clinton definitely committed adultery. Although he had a fantastic legal defense, which was I did not have sexual relations with her, which is technically true because she had sexual relations with him. The way that it's phrased, it's like
Did they do that intentionally? That was like an actual thing?
yeah, because touching, you have to touch somebody else's genitals to make it a sexual act, like to have you having sex. So her mouth was not genitals.
That's classic Bill.
It is old Slick Willie for you.
Non-reciprocation.
Yep. Gerald Ford had an affair with an East German spy when he was in Congress, and then they blackmailed him for that. A lot of people don't know about that. John F. Kennedy definitely fucked around too. Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
That was a bad decision on his part.
Turns out Marilyn Monroe had terrible hygiene.
Yeah, I saw that. We're trying to insult Marilyn Monroe after she's been dead for years.
Yeah.
It's like she smelled bad.
I think
I don't care.
No, but she was depressed, which is like
That makes you smell bad?
no, like she wouldn't get out of bed, would eat in bed.
There's a movie coming out about her, right?
Who's playing her?
Ana de Armas. She's the maid in Knives Out.
What's her name?
Ana de Armas. She dated Ben Affleck for a little bit. Very pretty girl. She actually looks exactly like Marilyn Monroe in the movie. Is that your number one,
Check
Avery?
this out.
It's a good one.
Ana de Armas?
Oh yeah. Okay, good choice.
She
Billy
was just
approved.
in like that Netflix movie Gray Man. It was pretty good.
So we're talking about Jimmy Carter earlier. Jimmy Carter was no saint, even though we think he's a good person. In East Timor, which is an island in Asia, Southeast Asia, I believe, he escalated military involvement over there and killed 200,000 people extrajudiciously. So that's a lot of people. I don't know if he personally killed 200,000. Probably significantly less than that.
But like we mentioned, like every president's done something like that. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're counting killings overseas through military actions, like, I mean, then it's everyone.
Has there ever been a president who hasn't served in a wartime?
Now let's see. Going back,
Donald Trump, right?
Well,
Clinton?
we were still.
We've been at war
involved
against
in-
terror.
yeah, there was no
Oh, I'm sorry.
the war in-
I'm thinking different.
We actually
Afghanistan
still
and
was
Iraq.
the first Gulf War.
Are we
was-
out of all the wars
That was
technically?
Bush.
It wasn't still going on.
I don't think so. I think we're out of there by the time that Clinton took over. Now he did lob a couple cruise missiles over at some soap factories, as we've discussed.
Yeah. This says February 28th, 1991 is when it officially ended.
Yes, that was
Years-
pre-Clinton.
Years United States not at war. That's the best way to see it.
With Reagan, we weren't involved in any active war. It was the Cold War, and we had a lot of stuff going on. He had his he had a lot of fires, or a lot of tire. What's the phrase? He had a lot of irons in the fire. He had a lot of military stuff going on, but I don't think there were any actual wars.
15 years out of the 244-year history, we have not been at war.
That's pretty wild.
That is kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, 15. So what the two peaceful years, there was 1796 and 1797. Sound like some good wars.
Now, after you become president, when you get out of office, you got to start just loading up on drugs, right? I feel like Obama smokes a lot of weed.
Yeah. What do you think a normal day for him looks like?
Wakes up, smokes a cigarette. I think
he's back on
I think he's
that?
back on. He's got to be back on. Yeah.
He just didn't do it publicly anymore.
Yeah, he said that he's been quitting. He's been trying to quit.
I've been trying to quit dip for years through vape and Zen, and
I think he probably plays a lot of golf. I think that's really the only thing that you can do as a retired president, right?
yeah, it's a prison of golf.
Just golfing and maybe tennis. Bill Clinton. I don't think Bill Clinton golfs though, does he?
No.
Well, there was that one
I
picture.
mean, we know what Bill's doing.
Bill's just running through some strange,
Yeah. I mean,
running through the ochre patch a little bit. As
he's
Fred Smoot used to
probably
say.
having the best time out of all of them.
Yeah.
George Bush seems to be having a pretty good time.
No, George Bush is in a prison of his own brain. That's why he's painting all the time. It is. He's just like he's trying to distract himself from all the bad shit that he did.
So who was president from 1935 to 1940?
That would be FDR.
Yeah, so he was the only guy. There was no war. 97
Wait,
to
what? Wait, what? You said 1935 to 1940?
Yeah.
It was a pretty.
Well, we weren't
Yeah,
involved.
we weren't directly.
But
involved.
I'm trying
But
to
he was
find if
also
there was-
president until 1944.
Yeah, I know. So I'm just trying to find one president
45
who
whenever he
didn't
died.
do any war. Oh wait, Clinton was 96 2000, right?
92.
92 to barely 2000, I
Oh
think.
fuck yeah, he had a good stretch of 3 years, 97 and 2000. The U.S. weren't in war.
Yeah, because we're all concerned with his dick.
Yeah,
That's the best thing that a president can do, probably, is just get a blowjob.
he made love, not war.
That's true.
Honestly, that would have
First-
been the time to do terrible shit if you really wanted to, because everyone was just so consumed with, him getting a blowjob that
Yeah.
he could have really done whatever he wanted.
Now, do you think that he should have been charged with perjury and all that stuff? Because
I mean,
ultimately,
he did lie.
He did commit crimes for sure. But then you have to weigh, like, are we just trying to get him because the man got his dick sucked?
Yeah, probably. But, he did make it worse.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Can you pardon yourself as president? That's the big question.
Your VP can.
After he becomes president.
Yeah.
That's actually how they got Spiro Agnew. So Spiro Agnew, a lot of people think, oh, Nixon resigns, Gerald Ford becomes president. Fact of the matter is his vice president was Spiro Agnew, and he got threatened to be charged with tax evasion, felony tax evasion. So he apparently fucked some stuff up bad, and so they used that to be like, hey, you have to resign too, because we're just trying to clean house here. Nixon obviously committed some crimes, covering up Watergate. That was an interesting thing. Watergate, to me, it's very confusing. So they were trying to break in to the Democratic National Committee to steal a list of, I don't know, was it donors? A list of people that were not kind to the president. They were trying to get some intel on the Democrats. And so they broke into their hotel room. There's a guy that my aunt used to date for a long time. That was the first cop that was on the scene at the Watergate break-in. And so he's the one that went up to the room, and he noticed that there was tape over the door so that the door wouldn't latch shut.
Oh, he was that guy?
Yeah,
I just read the Wikipedia.
Yeah, so he noticed that, and then he went in and arrested them. He was out doing like Vice Patrol or something at the time. Got a call on his radio saying there's a break-in happening at the Watergate, and he was close by. So he sped over there.
2 fantastic movies about Watergate.
Yeah, really. Like
Forrest Gump.
Yeah, Forrest Gump for sure.
All the President's Men.
Yeah.
And then The Post is pretty much about Watergate.
Yep. All the President's Men is a great movie.
I don't like old movies, but we watched that in college, and I love that movie.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's what journalists are like now, Big T?
No.
No. There's no Woodward and Bernstein out there.
Wait, Frank Wills?
They're few and far between.
No, not Frank Wills.
Oh.
It was another cop that was there.
Oh.
That might have been his partner.
Leaper?
Nope.
Barrett.
Yep. That's him.
Cool.
Is he listed in the?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I was reading it over for this episode. I just saw all these names, and I was like, huh.
Yeah, he used to regale us kids with stories about the time he foiled the Watergate break-in. He probably exaggerated a lot of it for effect, but the way that he made it seem like he was the guy that essentially like kicked down the door and arrested everybody. All right, what other crimes we got, Billy?
We have Iran-Contra.
Yep.
I mean, the thing is, honestly, every president has kind of gotten away with all sorts of crimes. Like,
There's okay, so maybe you don't arrest them and put them in jail the second after they leave office, but maybe there's a full investigation into your entire tenure as president that begins the day that you leave office.
Oh.
And you're held in jail in the meantime.
And then time served.
Pending trial. Yeah, pending trial, you just stay in whatever country club prison that you want to name.
No, it's actually crazy. Grant was the only one to ever be arrested.
Yeah.
And charged.
Mm-hmm.
Like every president that was too drunk. There's a lot of drunk presidents.
Yeah. Well, what about, so after you become president, it probably makes it difficult to get arrested because of what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
With the Secret Service all around you.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? And you probably don't want to commit crimes because there's always somebody looking at you.
Yeah.
Whenever you're just like going about your daily business, it makes it, you're not going to like go stick up a convenience store.
I am surprised about the Secret Service text messages going missing.
Yeah. What's going on there?
Why would the Secret Service, one, they're not Republican or Democratic. Like, why would they not reveal their text messages?
I think they probably like Trump as a person. I think they probably enjoyed hanging out with him.
Yeah.
Because Trump he might be like a funny guy to hang out with, regardless of your politics, when he's just like being him. I mean, people watch him on TV all the time and he's got a crazy personality. So they might have liked him. And he probably was a ball buster. And so they probably texted a lot of bad stuff that they don't want to come out. So probably deleted all that. That's my guess.
True.
Who knows what it was really about, but that's my thought on it. All right. Anything else you want to get into? We want to jump into Hassan?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get Hassan on the show. Billy nerds out with him. Smart Billy coming up next. And Billy delivers an ad read for the ages.
Oh, don't spoil it. It's a secret.
All right, here he is, Hassan Piker. All right, we now welcome on a very special guest. It's been a long time coming. I'd say that you're one of the 2 most requested guests on Macrodosing. It's you and Nick Adams. And so we got you first. It is
What the fuck? Wait, who's Nick Adams?
Oh, dude, you don't know Nick Adams.
Wait, isn't that the fucking weird guy who's always like, Chuck E. Cheese is under attack by the gay SJWs or whatever?
Yeah.
Is that the guy?
That's him. He's always like, you know what this game could use more of? A good Christian man like Tim Tebow.
Yeah, he's the Skip Bayless
that
of
guy's
politics.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're still not really convinced that he's a real person. We think he might be I
think he's trolling.
It might be a bit. He's definitely trolling, but I don't know if he's real. That's the thing. He just might be like a computer composite image, and then they gave him a blue check mark, and he just gets away with it. But it's Hassan. Hassan has been very requested. He's been we've been circling Hassan for a while, and we finally got some time with him. So thank you for joining us. It's Hassan Piker at Twitter at Hassan the Hun. What's your name on Twitch again? How can they find you on Twitch?
I have terrible SEO. So my Twitch username is Hasan Abi. It means older brother Hassan in Turkish. Obby is like the I guess nomenclature. Is that what you say? I don't know. And on Instagram it's Hassan D Piker. On TikTok it's Hassan D Piker. It's just all over the place, man. I'm 31 years old. I'm a fucking boomer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. At what age do you become a boomer? Because I feel like I hit that pretty hard recently, where I'm noticing that my takes are definitely they're getting old.
No, we're all old. We're all old. Let's be real. We are. I don't know what the like internet age is. Probably like 25 plus. You're dead. You might as well be dead. Like you should fucking think about ending it all.
I feel like
That's
it's pretty close to NFL running back terms, where you hit your peak on the internet between age of like 22 to 27, and then
I
after
don't
that,
know anything about. I was about to say I don't know anything about soccer.
Hold on. You like your peak was 25 on the internet. I'm calling cap on that.
I think no. So for me,
now,
it's different. But I think that like in terms of being like in tune with what the youths are discussing, like when you're a real internet power user, I feel like you're 25,
I was off that
26.
as a teenager. I was off what the youth was discussing. Fuck that shit.
So Hassan, this is Arian. He's joined us. He's in Houston. He was an NFL running back. When do you think you hit your prime, like physically?
You talking about me?
Yeah.
I say 25, 24, 25.
Yeah. All the hits
like
start
the
to
prime.
add up. It's not you and I aren't
Yeah,
so
you start-
different, Arian. I've absorbed hits online and slowing down a little bit mentally, but still grinding it out, going for that next contract. Maybe move to Miami, then retire right away.
I would say we have a harder time, honestly. Like us on the internet as broadcasters, I'd say it's probably a little bit harder, like just a little bit more difficult than getting hit by like a 400-pound dude.
Yeah. I think
know.
we get
Cap.
So Hassan, how would you describe yourself? Because I tune into your Twitch streams. They're very good. You're the just chatting king, right? You're like the number one person on Twitch who just chats that doesn't do it from a hot tub.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's like a couple other just chatting guys as well, but Twitch used to be a predominantly gaming platform, and now it's no longer the case. And yeah, I'm definitely the number one political broadcaster, both on Twitch and in general. I think like on the left.
Mm-hmm. So we got Billy Football here. We have Big T. I know you're a big fan of Big T. And then Mad Dog and Avery are behind the scenes right now, so they're all joining us. So been wanting.
I know that there's a conservative guy on here, right? I mean, I know it's not Arian. I'm familiar with your work. I've seen you. You've been on Twitch before. I mean, you still do.
Yeah, I
Twitch
used
stuff.
to. Yeah, I used to do it. It's a cesspool, man.
We've got
Twitch.
It's
Just the internet in general, man. Just giving your takes daily. I don't know if I have to. I don't know. Cause sometimes I get faded on the internet, and I be just like, "Yo, pull up." I'm like, "Fuck all this talking." Like, pull up. So it's not good for my health.
I feel that, except like people do sometimes pull up, you know what I mean? And I don't want some fucking psychotic stalker dude to be like, yeah, I did actually pull up.
I'm
like,
in Texas though, so if you step on the property, free game.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, it's
Are you advocating for the Second Amendment?
He is. Arian's a big personal Second Amendment guy.
I think he's the only gun owner on this show.
I was a gun owner.
Hey,
I had to turn my
I'm
gun
not
in.
taking that out of my box. I'm not for guns, but I got one just in case.
No, we have a gun knife.
Yeah, we have a gun knife. Have you heard about the gun knife, Hassan?
No, I know about the gun bed. I do not know about the gun knife, but I am a fan of guns. I like shooting guns. Guns are fun.
They're fun.
And you should be very safe with them. That's my take.
Yeah. The gun knife is something that a listener sent in to us. It's a gun, but then when you pull the trigger on it, a knife comes out of the barrel. So it's not actually a gun. It doesn't shoot anything. It's a illegal weapon that's disguised as a more illegal weapon. So I don't know really what the purpose is,
That's
but
the
it
most
looks
useless fucking thing I've ever heard.
cool. Yeah, it's pretty dumb.
Like it's better to just have a gun at that point,
Well,
right?
it's the same weapon that Dave Chappelle was his assailant who came on stage to get him was carrying.
Yeah, the gun knife.
That's where he originated. We were like, oh, let's get a gun knife.
And then the bullet that came with it is also a cute little knife. There's a knife that comes out of the bullet too.
A little
so.
X-Acto blade.
Yeah, it's nice. But yeah, Big T he leans more to the right. Billy is also, like in many ways, more conservative than Big T is. But yeah, it's Big T's the one that you're thinking of. I think you guys will get along really well, though.
Maybe.
We had
I
Felix
get
on
along
the
with
show.
conservatives.
Yeah, we have.
I speak their language.
Yeah. So Big T, are we going into this conversation with an open mind right now?
I go into every conversation with an open mind.
I love it. I love it. So, do you want to just get into public schools right now, or where do we want to start? What's been in the news recently?
I want to tap into his profession real quick, because the interesting thing about what you do, Maji, is kind of what's plaguing America, and it's not your fault, you know, that you've monetized it, but like, you're a huge political streamer, right? And political content in general is like a big money making machine, right? And so how do you balance like really good business for you is just like really bad for society?
It definitely gets conflicting. I mean, that's a really good question, actually, because the highest numbers or the highest viewership I have usually is not during good times, which are not exactly commonplace in American politics to begin with. But usually in the worst of times, like when Russia invades Ukraine, or things like global world-changing events are happening. But I don't feel conflicted on my coverage over it, or even making money off of it, because my perspective is entirely my own. It's unique. It's genuine. It's what I believe in. It's what I've been doing for 10 years, even when I wasn't making boatloads of money. It's what I did at the Young Turks. So it's what I would do with my friends, even if I wasn't on the internet. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
I'm not necessarily knocking you for it, because I think there's a place for it. My question is more leaning towards the state of humanity. Like it's like people love blood, right? Like they love blood in the water. And so, like, does that? Because I'm a pessimist, and it's for reasons like that. Now,
me too.
This okay. I was about to ask, like, where would you rate your pessimism, like on a spectrum?
I mean, I don't even think I'm a pessimistic person. I think I'm a realistic person, which is what every pessimistic person says, I think.
Yeah.
Except for you. You just straight up say it.
But I think it's almost synonymous. If you're a realist, then you have to be pessimistic, because you don't see much.
Yeah, I mean, the world is shit. I think that the most disastrous part of our existence is that, especially here in the United States of America, we have the capacity to live much better lives. Like, I'm not talking about us. We fucking made it. We're literally influencers. It's the one job that everybody wants to have. It's the best thing, right? It's literally what everyone wants. It doesn't matter if you're the fucking inside of the White House. Doesn't matter if you're the president. Doesn't matter if you're a military veteran or whatever. Every single person ultimately wants to sell t-shirts. There's a Felix trope right there, Felix Biederman. And he's right. So we already have that. Our lives are good, but life is pretty chaotic and pretty awful for every single person. Most of your listeners, most of my listeners, most of the members of my community, and it's awful by design. So the way I see it is that pain is consistent regardless of my existence or not. So even though I'm a pessimistic person, even though I'm a realistic person, and I see the awfulness that is brought upon us by a capitalist organization of the economy, I still believe that as long as you can marginally better your life and the lives of others around you, it's still worth it. I think it will be worth it. I have no proof of that concept, but it does give me a lot of fulfillment. And I always think of how society will flourish if men plant trees that they will never sit in the shade of. So that is what I try to instill in my community as well. That's what I live by.
Now I got a couple questions on that viewpoint.
Here we go.
I'm not, I just maybe this is coming from a spot where I don't like emotionally, I don't like that sort of depiction of everyone's living in awfulness, and just sort of see.
Brother, you're not living in awfulness. You're
right.
on a fucking podcast. You're probably doing all right.
True. I mean, but like for the average listener, there's a lot of people out there. The whole idea that everyone else is, a victim of some awfulness. Would you say that awfulness doesn't coincide with everything that is, ever taken place? That awfulness is sort of part of just reality, and say, like, let's say there's a different structure. Let's say we're looking pre-industrial, almost maybe pre-agricultural nation. Is that awfulness like a constant throughout all sort of times in history and times of human existence?
Are you asking me about primitive communism and like if there was awfulness in that time period?
Right.
Because
whatever you interpret it as.
I don't think so. I mean, but then again, I'm not like an anarcho-primitivist or anything. I'm not like one of those like fucking I love Ted Kaczynski, like we got to return to monkey type dudes.
Liver
you know
King.
what I mean? Yeah, no, like, but Liver King isn't that either. That motherfucker lives in like a 7-bathroom, 7,000 square feet mansion in fucking Texas just because he's like. I mean, no disrespect. I love Liver King. Okay,
he's hilarious.
I'm a liver boy myself. However, like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, you keep talking about how you want to do like simulated hunts and whatnot, or you want to return to tribal lifestyles or whatever. But you live the most like used car salesman in Texas lifestyle I've ever seen.
No, I think that's a really great point. Honestly, I think it's hilarious that Liver King's taken that Ted Kaczynski ideology and become like a neo. Like taking that ideology and repurposing it in a different way.
He's like,
I think that's
return to monkey.
He's selling product. He's selling product. As Liver King, what he has ironically done is taken, industrial revolution and its consequences and literally turned it into neoliberalized it and turned it into marketing for fucking bullshit products like liver products or supplements.
We had him.
It's a supplement grade.
We had him in.
Why is that the go-to? Why does
studio.
everybody sell supplements?
Well, everyone sells supplements, or
Sups are
he's
pretty
right,
cool.
like T-shirts too. You see, like AOC's got her own shop open. Marjorie Taylor Greene, that's how she's like fighting back against Biden. She's like, I'm dropping some new fire merch.
Buy our
I'm a
merch.
fan of that shit though, cause I'm like anti. Like all I got is like Hanes T-shirts and black and white T. Cause I don't like shilling for these big ass like Louis Vuitton. I hate that type of shit. So like, I'm a fan of everybody dropping the merch, and you just have a whole bunch of merch of people that you fuck with. I'm a fan with that.
Can we get back to something? And maybe I'm the only one interested in that. When you talk about primitive communism, what I kind of know what that means, but for our listeners and maybe for some people on this podcast, what does that entail? Because I've heard this, not theory, but this
Arian
sort of.
caught that too. Billy was like, that was a very subtle way of being like, I'm really smart.
No,
but there are a lot of people in this room.
No, it's a great. I honestly, I don't think I'd be.
Primitive accumulation is just like hunter-gatherer societies or like pre-enclosure societies. It's just a Marxist designation for not even industrial revolution, but like pre-enclosure societies where we had there was no concept of like ownership over land. And of course, civilizations were not nearly as advanced as they are now, but there was still, some societal structure, some organizational structure. But post-enclosure, which is like the basically the closure of land and private ownership over land, created a lot more warfare because there was a protection of that private property. There was a concept. There was a concept that you need to establish as private property, defend it. So that's what primitive communism is means to designate that area.
So
that era.
I've heard this idea also explained with the concept of social debt and how that works, in that debt was always something that was contributing to that sort of dynamic, and that it wasn't sort of a commune per se, but each individual felt that whenever something was given, there wasn't an exchange, but rather the exchange was in the form of social debt to another. If someone brings you something, you then felt you had a point, like a subconscious debt that was then an exchange. That dynamic, I always feel, because there's two ways you could explain it, like with it being a debt system that was just up in the air.
I'm losing you. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Discord does this sometimes. Sorry. My Discord does this sometimes where I can't hear you.
Check.
You were talking about debt?
Yeah, and sort of, what are your opinions? Because there is a analogous theory that sort of that communism could be explained by a social debt system and a subconscious sort of application of debt in the way we kind of see it today. It just was never written down. It was never a formal structure, but any sort of contribution to the group was more of and you could almost say that debt system could apply to what we have today.
Are you I mean, I guess there's many different ways of organizing society, or there's many different understandings of like how you can achieve communism or whatever. That could be one of those methods. I think what you're describing is closer probably to like anarcho-communism. So it's more of an anarchist development where I guess that would be a democratic organization around the abolition of debt, but then creating social debt, like, hey, an IOU system, I guess.
Yeah.
That's one way to do it. I'm not like a super firm believer in that myself. I get where you're coming from, though. I mean, that's one way to do it. It's just not like that's not socialism,
Right.
in general. That's not encompassing everything that socialism can be.
So getting
Or
back
has
to the original question, do you think that, quote unquote, they experienced any awfulness in those systems?
Certainly, of course, as a consequence of having inadequate technology, especially, like, and awfulness will continue. You know what I mean? There's no solution. There's no silver bullet to like ending awfulness. Like, there's still gonna be dudes who can't get pussy, even if we're living in a fucking communist utopia. Okay, and that's probably gonna cause some problems. Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
there's always gonna be one thing or another that establishes some hierarchy. We will move on to different things that we find to be important. I am a firm believer that we should, at the very least, equalize the material conditions of all people across the board universally. And I think that there's an advocacy for that, for even a pro-capitalist position where, Americans love talking about fucking equal opportunity. We don't have equal opportunity. We've never had it. And we most likely will never have it because this system hinges on not offering equal opportunity, but only the lie of equal opportunity. So we could turn around and say, hey, bootstrap it.
Yeah.
So I think that if there was genuine equal opportunity, then we would be able to maximize on so many of the people that we're underserving currently that could be incredible geniuses. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Big T.
It's a bit of a cliche, but to say it's
Yeah.
like, the kid who could technically maybe cure fucking cancer is like dying right now for no reason, because he doesn't have access to clean water.
Big T. I see you're mulling some things over in your head right now. What are you thinking?
Not really. I don't necessarily agree. I think we define.
You don't agree with equal opportunity?
No. I think you and I define the word opportunity differently. Are there people who are born into more advantageous circumstances in this country than others? Obviously, of course. That doesn't mean that people who are necessarily born into less fortunate circumstances don't have the opportunity to do things that anybody else can do. It might be more difficult.
Okay, so you don't agree with equal opportunity.
How are
No.
you getting that?
Well, I mean, here, I'll zoom out for a second and I'll ask you like this. Like, a kid born in Zimbabwe doesn't have the same level of access to public education or even a means of survival as a kid born in like whatever Connecticut suburb you came from, right?
Sure.
Okay. So with respect to that, then there is no equal opportunity, right? That kid's never gonna have the same level of opportunity as someone who was born in a nice zip code in America. Sorry, someone just rang the doorbell. Anyway, now think about that from the exact same perspective within America, within the same dynamics within the United States. Someone born in the south side of Chicago does not have the same level of access to adequate means of shelter, safety, even food. I mean, food scarcity is a huge problem for children in underserved neighborhoods, especially. They rely on the public education system. They rely on Michelle Obama's awful food program to feed themselves. Think about that. That's like for millions of children in this country, the most nutritious meal, most caloric, the food with the most caloric density they get is at public school during lunches. So obviously, when we live in a system like that, if you're like upper middle class, and you went to like a nice public school, and then, maybe you fucked around, but you got into like a nice state school or something, you know what I mean? Got into a frat, you had some fun. Like, there is no equal opportunity for you in comparison to a kid who just was born in a different zip code and got fucked over and will never be able to have the same level of the same access to education as you did or the same comfort that you did. I think we need to resolve that. I think most Americans would agree with that.
I don't necessarily disagree with most of what he said. I just think that, I mean, that would imply if those kids don't have the same opportunity, that none of them would ever go to good schools or get into a good college, and that happens.
Well, I don't know if it's like the same, but
that's
not
to say
not the same level, right? We're talking like percentages, and you're right.
We're not.
They have to work 10 times harder to get that same opportunity.
Yeah.
Which really changes the definition of equal opportunity.
I see where y'all are coming from. I agree with most of that.
I think what we found with Big T is that we agree on most things in principle. Big T just hates being yelled at by libs, and they're annoying, which is true. And I've tried to explain to him several times, like, yeah, libs are fucking annoying.
I do think that's a lot of the problem with the Democratic Party.
Yeah, yes. The libs are giving the Democratic Party a very bad name
and some really bad ideas,
which they've kind of earned at this point. But yeah, I've tried to explain to him how you are not a lib, you hate libs.
I don't even think the Democratic Party is good, to be honest. Like, I don't think the liberals are giving the Democratic Party a bad name. I think the Democratic Party in and of itself is just one side of that same exact coin. So that's why they constantly find bipartisan compromise on things that, things that are going to happen, like endless wars overseas, right? There's always money. There's always money in the banana stand for, blowing up, like laser striking some fucking kid in Yemen.
Yeah.
But the same cannot be said for helping people living in West Virginia that don't even have access to dental care. So you got to have a fucking NGO drop in, and open up like a daily facility to give dental care and health care to people living in West Virginia, like they're in war-torn Somalia. And the reason why I'm using those examples, a place like Zimbabwe or Somalia or any of these other countries, is not necessarily because there's like some intrinsic quality to them. It's because despite being incredibly resource rich, these countries have obviously historically been undermined by Western nations, exploited. And their natural resources are still being stolen from them without offering adequate development to them.
Jumping back to the whole like libs pissing us off conversation. One thing, so this episode that we're doing is going to be wrapped around presidential crimes and how basically if you're going to be president, you've committed a crime at some point. I'm of the mindset that after you become president, you should just go straight to jail. That's the bargain you have to make.
That.
It's like you can be president, but the day that you're out of office, guess what? You're in prison for the rest of your life. We'll see that'll separate the wheat from the chaff and see if anybody really ever truly wants to be a president, which nobody in their right mind should ever want to be president. I think that's a fucked up mindset to have from the get-go. But kind of wrapping that around the conversation of presidential crimes, it's been interesting, really interesting in the last few days and really the last 2-3 years overall to see all the libs become the biggest cheerleaders of the FBI and law enforcement when it suits their causes. And then for the same token, see conservatives start to hate the FBI, which is like, okay, has anybody been paying attention to anything that's happened throughout the course of the FBI's existence in this country? So are you of the mindset that for the most part, conservatives and liberals are they're just going to root for whoever's taking their side at any given time? Or how do you explain the shift of libs to being just completely in love with law enforcement and the FBI when it comes to what they're doing to Donald Trump?
I think liberals have always loved law enforcement, though. If we're talking about like voter libs, they've never had a problem with law enforcement. Joe Biden literally ran on giving more money to the police. Liberals, Democratic Party has historically always not only agreed with the Republican perspective, even if they campaign against it. When you look at the Democratic Party's like legislative agenda, they're always about beefing up the surveillance state and the security apparatus and giving more money. They love the foreign police, the American military. Well, not the military members, but just the military industrial complex, and they love domestic police. So it's not that crazy to consider, in my opinion.
You have Democrats still blaming Bernie supporters for saying defund the police and saying this is why we lost to Trump, like, or Hillary fans anyway. Like, they still say that to this day. Like, you're the reason for Trump. Like, we're like, what the fuck? Democrats love the police.
Do we think that Ukraine is being used as a new spending ground for a military-industrial complex?
Yes,
Yeah.
Good job, Bill.
100%.
I mean, we're just
The
dumping money.
the budget allocation for Ukraine from our expenditure, our military expenditure, is almost exactly the same as Afghanistan, and it's growing now a little bit more than that now. But it was like the allocation this past year was straight up like to the dime. I believe it was like 42 billion originally that came out, was exactly the expenditure for Afghanistan.
Yeah.
That money's got to go somewhere.
I got a question about that because I do not keep up with that because I'm just disinterested. At some point, you got to cut yourself off of foreign affairs or else you go crazy. So like, I'm just disinterested in it. And so what is the reasoning for backing Ukraine to this extent? Because they're not the only country getting invaded. They're not the only, you know what I mean? Like, what is the? I don't really understand it. I've not looked into it.
Ukraine is either going to be controlled as a vassal state by Russia, or it's going to be controlled by Western interests. So what ends up happening here is America wanted to use Ukraine as a great opportunity to undermine, cripple a foreign adversary. Now, that does not mean that there wasn't legitimate emancipatory interest from the Ukrainians with respect to not being fucking invaded by Russia, because that's, not great. Really fucked up, as a matter of fact. But instead of being the global, dominant hegemonic power that could say, hey, we are going to put together a bilateral agreement. We're going to put together an agreement between the United States and Russia, because those are the two main actors here. The interests of the Ukrainian people only goes so far. America uses it as a justification for further agitating and dumping $42 billion of small arms and also weapons into the country that they were already going to sell off to the military-industrial complex regardless. But beyond that, they don't really care. So the goal there, or if they truly wanted to manage the situation, they would have immediately sat down and been like, don't do this. You already have these viable contracts in Europe. You're supplying European countries with natural gas. Don't fuck this shit up. Don't go into Ukraine. Let's institute and actually reinforce the Minsk agreements. But they didn't do that. Instead, they were like, Russia's going to invade. Russia's going to invade. We have good intelligence. And then Russia did invade. And then they were like, see, we told you, Russia invaded. Now we're going to give unlimited funds to Ukraine. And then they talked about it endlessly for a month. And now no one seems to care because we moved on. Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, and then it was over. They ended the Ukraine discourse like entirely. He slapped the Ukrainian discourse right off the fucking market.
Something
I actually think Billy made that point right when it happened.
I know I did. Something that I've been thinking of and looking at analogies between, Charlie Wilson's war, Afghanistan versus Russia, and what we're seeing right now in Ukraine, sending arms. Ukraine, the vast majority of Ukrainian people are, just fighting for the sovereignty of their nation and fighting off a huge aggressor. But a lot of to defend their sovereignty, there's been a lot of bolstering up of a certain groups that were existing before this current war, back when there was fights in the Donbas region for Crimea. And there's a good amount, not the majority, but there's a good amount of serious white nationalist extremists in the country.
What do you mean? That would never happen. America would never train and arm, especially the CIA would never train and arm right-wing paramilitary groups in a country specifically to ultimately have that reactionary group overtake the entire country's governing structure. That would never happen, except for literally every single time that has happened, all the way from Latin America to Afghanistan.
So what's the best possible outcome? Because it does seem like we never learn our lesson when it comes to this shit. The only time, it worked you could say that it worked in Japan, right? After World War II,
nation building.
They became an ally to us because we kind of forced them to become an ally by being so involved in everything they're doing. In Afghanistan, it was certainly like the opposite. We're just like, okay, see you.
No, but
You're welcome for the bombs.
What happens in Afghanistan is you have, the freedom fighters who then become the Taliban. Then there's a vast network that this funding is caused because you have a lot of, not pilgrims, but people who go into Afghanistan to fight against Russia. Are we going to see a global network of these sort of right-wing extremists because of all the funding? Yeah, because
no, that already exists. Look, the Azov Battalion is the one that people talk about the most. Ukrainian nationalism, much like nationalism of any other country that has had a nation building project against an imperial power, is somewhat complicated. And what I mean by that is there's the good type of nationalism, Pan-African nationalism, and then there's the bad type of nationalism when you're already the dominating power. When you were already like statist nationalism, when you were already a well-established state, right? So the inception of Ukrainian nationalism has, some interesting roots, some interesting partnerships. And what I mean by that is, of course, Nazis and some of the Ukrainian nationalist groups or most of the Ukrainian nationalist groups during World War II sided with Nazi Germany because they thought that Nazi Germany would give them an established Ukrainian state against Russia and, protect them from the USSR. So that's where that inception comes from. And that attitude doesn't go away. Like that's something that people ride for. It's not all that far back in their history. Right. So that's a very real opportunity for the intelligence community to take advantage of, because all of a sudden, when you have an imperial power, when you have, a regional superpower like Russia coming into your country and invading, now you're emboldened. Those nationalist groups are going to be emboldened. They're the ones who have the most training. They're the ones who are willing and able to fight back, and they have been, as you pointed out, fighting back in the eastern regions in Donbass. Mm-hmm. So now their claims and their anger is seen as just. Mm. In times of peace, people might have looked to them and gone, "All right, these guys are hooligans. They're paramilitaries. Like." They're a little fucking wild. Like, what are they doing? But in times of war, all of a sudden, they're the heroes. They're the ones you have to venerate. They're the ones you look to save you, and their cause is now just. I think America understands that concept really well and uses it, weaponizes it against countries that want to develop some level of autonomy. So that network does exist, yes.
So the craziest thing now is like, are we going to see coming out of this 20, 30 years down the line, are we going to have like a Nazi Al-Qaeda?
I think most of the Nazi groups that we have that are in operation operate very similarly to Al-Qaeda. The only difference is that like they're white. So we in the Western world are not trained to see it in that same way. I guess maybe my perspective is a little different because I'm Turkish. I grew up in Turkey. Muslim family. I'm Muslim. I understand fundamentalism, like religious fundamentalism in a different way. Like I get that Al-Qaeda are the fucking conservatives of that region. You see what I'm saying? Like we have Al-Qaeda, which is the same shit, except they're white. So they're less threatening to us living in the West.
I mean, you see those pictures. You see those pictures of someone with an AR-15 in one hand and a Bible in the other hand, and then there's like the analogous picture of like a freedom fighter. Like that meme goes around a lot. Yeah.
So where's this going to go in the U.S. where we're seeing it, more and more recently? That one dude went to the FBI headquarters in Cincinnati with a nail gun.
I think this is where she jumped in.
He's like, I feel like I figured out the whole bulletproof glass problem, and it's just using a nail gun. You probably got that from Red Dead Redemption
jewelry
or something.
Thieves. That's their big thing.
Oh, really?
Europe has so many more, not petty thefts, but like Grand Theft Auto type heists.
They
that we
got
just don't-
heists.
that we
We don't have
got.
enough
way
heists
cooler.
in the United
Like
States. Like,
the pussification of America,
yeah.
right there.
I need more heists. I need like an Italian
Bank robberies.
job. Yeah, bank robberies. I need all that
Paintings,
shit. Like, yeah,
museums.
dude,
100%.
art heist. We don't have any. Like, there's no robbery in America that involves two guys in a van with like a headset, like hacking into a system.
Yeah, like what happened?
But yeah, that dude that went to Cincinnati and he's got the nail gun and he's like, yeah, I'm out here trying to fight the FBI. That problem's probably going to get worse before it gets better, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but I think that like these kooks are always going to be around. You know what I mean? There's their brains are fried in different ways than like our brains are fried, I guess. But everyone's brain is kind of fucking fried for the same thing that I was talking about. We're constantly online, but we're incredibly alienated. And ultimately something just really breaks your brain. There's like a final snapping moment. Half the time, these guys are already like under surveillance by the FBI because they could be an asset, a wonderful asset down the line, maybe. Because like every time this happens, they're like, the FBI knew about the suspect. Like every time some shit like this happens, it's like, okay, well, thanks for letting us know. But
now
Do I
that
think
they're
that
the
they
ones they're the ones under attack, like the FBI is actually the target. This might motivate them to be like, okay, you know what, this is a real threat because it's happening to me.
Not necessarily. I think the law enforcement agency's like ultimate power is to make things go the same way that it was, not to disrupt, not to have like any sort of serious disruptive forces that offend the well-established hierarchy. So, a couple of these like crazy guys here and there popping off, I don't think is necessarily going to rock the boat too much, especially because like it's a part of our everyday existence here in America. Like mass shootings are happening nonstop. We are pretty, like, I mean, even Uvalde, we got over collectively rather quickly. You know, Sandy Hook was in the media, in the public consciousness for months. Even Parkland was in the public consciousness for at least a month and a half. And I know this because I spoke at March for Our Lives, the gun rally that was put together by the Parkland students when the Parkland shooting first happened. And then I spoke at March for Our Lives again when the Uvalde shooting happened. And I'm good friends with some of the organizers, some of the victims of the Parkland shooting, Cameron Kasky, and I was talking to him about this, and I said, why did you guys mobilize so quickly, and yet there wasn't as big as a crowd this time? It didn't seem like there was enough motivation. And he said, well, we had a month after Parkland to be able to organize because it was still in the public consciousness. But after Uvalde, we had 3 days. And then after that, it's like leaving the news cycle. People are going to lose interest. People are not going to want to rally.
Yeah.
Now, because you're so, and this is very hard to say, and I don't mean to say this is like to dismiss it, but like putting the whole gun access issue to the side for a second when looking at these events, what do you think is setting off these perpetrators of these terrible acts? Do you think that there's a concerted somewhere online? What do you think is, for lack of a better term, radicalizing these kids to go do such terrible things?
I mean, I think there's this sense of unease about everyone's future. It's hard for us to grasp that because we are also now a little bit older and becoming more financially secure in our generation. But when you're younger, I feel like there's no hope. There's no hope for the future because, you got climate change lingering as the ever-present threat that is going to destroy everything, destroy life as you know it. And then also on top of that, your job opportunities are incredibly limited. That's part of the reason why everybody just wants to be on TikTok. Everybody just wants to be a TikTok star or an influencer and sell t-shirts because it's like one of the few jobs where you can like actually earn a decent living and not be someone else's bitch for the rest of your life. And I think people sense that. Even if they can't communicate it verbally, they sense that unease. They feel that. And I think that probably destroys, that warps your consciousness, that destroys your sense of self. And then the ongoing structural inefficiencies are, even if it's a small thing, it's just like it causes you to snap way quicker. If you're mentally unstable and you step on a Lego, your reaction to that could be, a trigger for much, much worse actions to come, right? It's just compounding on top of all of the anger, resentment, frustration, alienation in your life. So I think everyone is in that. Everyone is living in a powder cake, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. We talk about Alex Jones a lot on this show, and my theory is that he's a CIA operative in one sense or another. Like he has had contact with the CIA, and has actually, he might not be like a full-time informant, but he's definitely been in contact with them and been used to put things out to destabilize some people and to move people in one direction or the other. He's pretty much fucked over now after the Sandy Hook trials. I think his coffers are going to run pretty dry after that. So he's probably looking for a payday. I've heard through the grapevine that he would be willing to fight in a rough and rowdy. So that's the boxing tournament that we put on here once every couple months. Now I'm conflicted by this because one, I think Alex Jones is a piece of shit and he's either a pussy or a fraud, maybe both. But I also recognize a chance to get Alex Jones to have his ass kicked on live television, which I would love to see. Your name has come up once or twice because you're a big dude. You're a big physical presence, as Colin Cowherd would put it. Would you consider fighting Alex Jones in hand-to-hand combat?
No. I wouldn't even. Here's why. One, I've gotten in many fights in my youth. I'm not a big fan of fighting in general. I think even when you lose, even when you win, you lose the fight ultimately because you just ended up fighting. But also on top of that, I don't even want to debate Alex Jones. Like I've had opportunities. His producers have reached out to me in the past, and I just don't want to even be around him. I appreciate him as an entertainer. I've been a big Alex Jones fan for a very long time. Okay. I'm talking Scanner, Darkly, public access days. Yeah. I've always been like, this guy's fascinating, right? I don't agree with his takes. I can separate the art from the artist. Okay.
We do that a lot.
Yeah. And I have no issue doing that, but I do think that people like Alex Jones do constitute like a viable threat, a legitimate threat to other people's lives and safety, maybe even including myself and my family's. So I would rather stay away from people like that because their fan bases are fucking deranged, dude.
Yeah, he is the ultimate Lego that you can step on. So if you're in a bad place mentally and you come across Alex Jones, he's tossing red meat at you. He knows exactly what you want to hear to get you upset. Oh, yeah. He pinpoints exactly who you should be mad at, and then by implication, if you take Alex Jones at his word and everything that he says you believe to be 100% factual, of course you would go to violent lengths. Of course you would think that this is a direct threat to everybody that I know and love, which is why I'm saying like when he's at the Capitol and he's like riling people up, if you believe everything that Alex Jones has told you, yeah, of course you should fucking storm the Capitol. That makes perfect sense if you totally believe it. But he will never do it. And when he says things about like 9/11, what he believes happened on 9/11, of course you should try to overthrow your own government if they're willing to do that thing that he says they're doing. But he doesn't actually believe it.
Or even Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
Even Sandy Hook. If the government is so insane, and the government has done a lot of fucked up shit, which we were going to actually talk about, right? I thought we were going to talk about the crimes of presidents.
Yeah.
But if the government has done a bunch of really fucked up shit, okay, and it is not outside of the scope of reason, there's a non-zero chance that this government could do something like that crazy, which I don't think, obviously I'm not like a Sandy Hook denier or anything. I'm just saying that the government does have the capability of doing such gruesome things. Then yeah, your righteous cause, the righteous action to take in that circumstance is to rise up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these guys are brain broken, and Alex Jones is fueling that anger.
So
every day.
Before you got to go, I know you've got your stream that you hop on. You stream so much, man. I don't know how you do it. You're kind of insane.
I am insane. No, I'm a freak.
How many hours a week do you spend streaming?
I mean, I'm in front of the camera every day from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the minimum. So that's 8 hours a day, no matter what.
That's crazy.
Uh,
So
like 7 days a week.
I know you got to get going. Do you have just a couple minutes to talk about some presidential crimes?
Yeah.
All right,
No,
Bill.
it's fine. We can be a little late. I already told my audience I was gonna be a little late because I'm doing this podcast.
Okay, so do you have any that you want to talk about right off the top of your head, or should we go into our treasure trove?
Well, I definitely want to go into your treasure trove, but one thing I want to establish before we get into this is like obviously there are crimes like whatever the law is, right? There is the international law, which the American government and Western nations have written so that they can purposely weaponize it against smaller nations and justify their war crimes against those smaller nations. And then there's the morality. If we're going to think about it from the perspective of like morality, right, which I think is more important than legality, then every American president is a war criminal, 100%, no matter what, every single one. Absolutely, I will say that with my chest. We could talk about even like Bill Clinton. Noam Chomsky has a really good war crimes of the president like lecture kind of where he talks 14 minutes about basically like every president, every contemporary president post World War II and the war crimes that they engaged in. And it's really good. Like all the coups that they facilitated and all the death that they caused and destabilization that they caused worldwide. From a moral perspective, they're all war criminals. And then you have the legal war crimes like Barack Obama going on a drone assassination campaign, which even included like the assassination of an American citizen.
Yeah.
We
We think he's still on the sticks.
we think that he's still on the sticks.
We think that Biden, all the credit that he got for El Zohari, it's just actually like Obama. He's in the back room with an Xbox.
You think so? No, I don't think so. I think it's a well-oiled machine. Like you don't have to have like a legitimate person at the top running the operation.
What about
But I
Jimmy
think
Carter
Barack
though?
Obama-
You think Jimmy Carter's a war criminal? He's the one that I've been trying to pinpoint a crime. I've been trying to pin a crime on Jimmy for a while.
Jimmy Carter has a bunch.
You know, there's only
go on.
There's only one president in this. I find this a hilarious story. There's only one president that's been convicted of a crime while in office, like a civil crime.
Yeah.
Ulysses S. Grant
Yeah.
booked for speeding.
Yeah.
They took.
horseback riding.
It's hilarious. They put him in cuffs.
Fucking speed demon.
It was hilarious. He liked what was the term? He liked to be behind two well-fed speedlings. His horses. He was in a carriage and he was arrested by an African American Union war veteran who was a DC Metro police officer who arrested Ulysses S. Grant for speeding after 3 warnings and booked him, cuffed him, took him to the station.
You got to have a set of nuts on you to arrest the president for
I
speeding.
mean, how hilarious is that?
I love that. That's badass. Like, why don't presidents now suck? And that goes back to Obama too. Like, I think Obama is way more fascinated with like cutting Netflix deals and shit and like being friends with Jay-Z and Beyonce than like actually fucking drone striking another like 14-year-old in Pakistan. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he gives a shit about that as much. I think he did that not for fun, but because he had to, so he could become best friends with Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Yeah, he gets that Spotify bag. Him and Bruce Springsteen had that podcast.
Yeah, I listened to it.
How was it?
It was disappointing. It actually made me feel better as a podcaster, being like, hey, not everybody can do this shit.
I'm a way better podcaster than Barack Obama is. That's just a fact. The numbers bear that out. I kicked the shit out of him on any metric that you have. Minutes downloaded or minutes listened per download. He fucking sucks at that. He's the amount of money that's thrown at him though, like just at least produce a consistent product, Barack.
Yeah.
I think he did like 3 episodes and then just pieced out. He's like, not for me. This content life is. I'd love to see Barack try to stream for 7 hours a day or 8 hours.
To be fair, that is like there's par for the course for being an influencer though. You get the fucking bag up front and you're like, I can't do this anymore. Too much. So he's a perfect influencer now. He's killed it. He's done it.
Think about if did we talk about this? Barack Obama Twitch streaming his drone strikes.
I don't know if we talked about that. No, I don't think that one came across.
Him on the sticks.
He get banned, I think.
TOS.
Yeah. So
Trump got banned
from Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch would never ban Obama though. Obama can do whatever the fuck he wants. Liberals will. Liberals venerate and treat Obama like a deity in the same way that Republicans treat Donald Trump.
Yeah, or even like Reagan. I feel like when Obama,
Oh.
when he does pass away one of these days, libs are going to want to put his name on everything, right? And then conservatives will fight. Whereas I don't think that when, the Republicans went on a naming spree of everything after Reagan when he died, I think that Democrats, for the most part, were like, yeah, sure, put his name on whatever you want. There wasn't like any pushback, but I feel like it's going to be way different.
Very good airport.
What, Reagan National?
Maybe my favorite that I've been to recently.
It's not bad. It's not a bad
Good
airport. I
airport.
fly in and out pretty frequently.
Where is it?
It's
DC.
Oh,
yeah, it's right across the river from DC. So there's no actual.
Hella off topic. But they just redid JFK. That shit is lit.
It is nice.
I
yeah.
think
They did
I
LaGuardia
think
too.
the irony there is that
Those are
like,
LaGuardia.
Ronald Reagan is a reason why like airliners are dog shit in America. You know what I mean? The corporate consolidation of airliners like directly happened with the Reagan era policy of like union busting, strike busting, and aggressive actions that the federal government took towards people who wanted a better pay.
Yeah, he fired all the air traffic controllers because they went on strike.
Which is ironic that he now has like he now has an airport named after him that actually runs well, I guess.
Yeah, but counterpoint, isn't it a good thing to like? Would you want an airport to be named after you? Because everybody hates going to the airport.
It depends, right? I mean, it depends. If it's a good airport, then fucking sure.
Yeah, I don't know anything about LaGuardia, what he did, what his policies were.
Mayor.
I just fucking hate the guy because his airport sucks.
Yeah.
There, right?
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing, okay? Obama's black, so they're not gonna let they're only gonna let the liberals name like underserved and impoverished areas under Obama. That's like the same concept as like MLK. Like MLK Boulevard is like historically always in some of the most fucked over communities. And the same with Obama too. Obama Boulevards like operate in a similar capacity. Republicans really are very good at getting even the biggest fucking losers like Confederate generals slapped onto some of the nicest things. It's like how do you get away with that?
Yeah. So Billy, who else do we have for some presidential crimes here?
So Teddy Roosevelt owned a couple of exotic species that are now illegal. He had a whole menagerie. I think we talked about this one time. He had a huge zoo, which technically not, he had a zoo, but no permit from back in the day. So technically a crime, got away with it. But then we have the classic Watergate. We got Nixon. Then we got technically Clinton in some regards, but those were the only real,
Well, Iran Contra, right? I mean, you got Reagan. Reagan did a bunch of shit.
Yeah. Towards the end of Reagan's tenure, he was everything that Joe Biden is now in terms of like teetering on the edge of dementia. And but he had a great fall guy set up. Oliver North, like maybe the all-time greatest fall guy, just kept his mouth shut, did his time, came back knowing he had a bag waiting for him in conservative talk radio. He was a very, very good patsy to put up to that.
And then his CIA director pardoned everyone anyway when he became president. So there was that.
They tried to impeach Andrew Johnson for the Tenure of Office Act. He may have been, but he got out of it.
Yeah. Who is it? William Henry Harrison. He's probably the only one that's not a war criminal, right? Because he died in 28 days or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably clean. He's probably the only president that's in heaven.
I got a good one that you probably will never see in lists like that. Okay. Are you guys ready for this?
I'm ready.
I'm excited.
George Washington.
Oh.
George Washington actually violated the law regularly by taking advantage of a loophole at the time. And this is actually something I talk about regularly with respect to like the age-old debate about like, oh, the founders were very conflicted on slavery. Like, no, they fucking weren't. Okay. Also, what do you mean conflicted on slavery? There were plenty of fucking people at the time that were like, no, that's really fucked up. Don't do that. And the evidence I use to that is the loophole that George Washington regularly used to ensure that his slaves never got freed. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna read it to you. I don't want to fuck it up. Okay, so there was a statute when Washington was around that enslaved people would have to be freed after living 6 months inside of where is it? Which state was it? Was it Pennsylvania? I think it was. Yes. In 1780, Pennsylvania passed the Gradual Abolition Act, a law that freed people after they turned 28, and that automatically freed any slave who moved to the state and lived there for more than 6 months. So George Washington, in an effort to evade said law, because he had a bunch of slaves, would quietly have his wife move all of his slaves outside of the state before the 6-month period passed. And there was still, despite these attempts to hold on to his property, Ona Judge, a 22-year-old slave, escaped when she learned that the Washingtons intended to give her to a relative as a wedding present. She made it to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, where she married and began a life as a free woman. Judge was one of the thousands of black people who escaped to freedom, both independently and as a part of the loose network that would later be known as the Underground Railroad. But Washington, on top of that, still technically evaded the authorities, knowing full well that this was immoral, illegal, and yet he still ended up trafficking his slaves across state boundaries in an effort to make sure that they were never freed as the law intended.
That's so fucked up. And honestly, like, there's a million things that are fucked up about this situation. But the fact that you're giving a person to another person as a wedding present, what a shitty time to live in. And everybody was like, yeah, that's cool. That's normal. That's our president.
Yeah.
I mean,
he had 150 slaves. People, it's just like something very strange, at least for me, that like I don't understand. I didn't grow up in America. I grew up in Turkey. So the fact that when Turkish public education, of course, has its problems as well about avoiding certain historic atrocities that the Ottoman Empire and the Turkish government have committed. However, it is wild that like America, I would have expected, would be a little bit more open-minded about genuinely discussing the crimes of our founding fathers here in the United States, and they just like totally avoid that. They say like, oh, George Washington was super chill with the slaves, like they're fucking slaves, like that's insane.
Yeah. Jumping back to what we were talking about earlier with Nick Adams, his other favorite person in the world is Enos Freedom. So I expect that you've got some takes on him. We did a little bit of a medium dive. I wouldn't say a deep dive, but we looked up some of his education in the past and the people that he grew up around and how they may or may not be in touch with him now.
He's a CIA asset.
What's up with him from your perspective?
So Fethullah Gulen is a Muslim cleric that lives in the Poconos in a fucking compound. He is a CIA asset. Okay, straight up. Fethullah Gulen and Erdogan are originally from the same like tribe, I guess. Not even a tribe, but like they kind of developed in that same movement, that same like Islamist movement. And then they had a falling out, and America wanted to utilize Fethullah Gulen in a coup d'etat in Turkey that failed. That actually ended up reinforcing Erdogan's power, as a matter of fact. Pretty bloody. A lot of civilians died. They were refueling on American bases. There was a parallel government, basically, of like Gulenists because of the power that these two had been able to achieve inside of Turkey, inside of like all matter of government, all the way up to like judges, police forces, and even in the military. And Fethullah Gulen failed in that coup d'etat, but Enes Kanter is a product of his schools. So Fethullah Gulen has a lot of Islamist schools all around the world. And I think the original intention for the United States was, once they funded Wahhabist fundamentalists in Pakistan, once they beefed up like the Saudi royal family and Wahhabist extremists all around the world, they were like, oh fuck, we need a counterbalance to this. We need a more tolerant, more moderate Islamist approach. So they saw Fethullah Gulen as the guy to basically create not madrasas in the same way that you would with Wahhabist fundamentalists in Pakistan and whatnot, but instead with schools, Turkish schools. They're all over African nations. They're even all over in the United States as well. There are plenty of Gulenist schools, and certainly they are all over Turkey. And Enes Kanter is a product of one of these schools. I actually never ended up playing basketball with him, but he was in Ankara in Samanyolu. So like every one of my friends played basketball with him, and he was believed to be faking his age too. which is like common practice in Turkey, where you say you were born at a different time than you actually were born, so you're like much larger than everybody else.
Yeah.
And then the advantages of that are incredible. So there's some insider tea for you on NS Contat.
Huh. So that he could become influential in like going to the NBA and to be influential for that group.
The NBA thing is like just because he's good. It's the same shit that, you're like, if you've ever read like Malcolm Gladwell or whatever, it's the same shit that like, it's the advantages that you get if you were born earlier in the year rather than, towards the end of it. Right.
Yeah. We
Like
have that the Little League
developmental
World
advantages.
Series where there'll always be like a 15-year-old kid.
Hi, I'm 12.
The Danny Almonte.
Yeah.
Of the world.
It was that in The Outsider. Yeah, that's the book. The Outsiders, The Outliers.
Outliers.
Yeah.
Outliers,
We're talking
I
about
think? Yeah.
January births.
Oh, January
Yeah.
births. That's not the right one because I'm January. I was always the smallest. So
Right.
I think it's like
I don't know. You might have gotten cooked on that. Your genes might have.
I didn't get that good. I was late January though. Was at the very end. But yeah, if you're born, if you're born in like August, if you're one of those like deadline babies where you're right on the cusp and you can go either way, yeah, your parents should definitely hold you back and you'll be much better in sports.
Yeah.
Arian, what's your birthday?
July 25th,
And Arian?
1991.
I think Arian's muted.
August, my bad. I hit the space bar. August 24th.
There you go. So Arian Foster, that's proof right there. Like the only reason you made it to the NFL is because you were born in August and you were bigger than
No
everybody.
grit, no determination, no like hard work. It's just that big boost.
I was actually younger, so they just put me in school regular. So I was younger than there. So I graduated at 17. So
Oh, so he was
that's the
damn.
complete
He was
opposite.
screwed, yeah.
Malcolm Gladwell is a fucking
Gladwell
idiot.
just got fucking owned.
That was brutal.
Fuck Malcolm Gladwell.
Anything else we want to tap into real quick?
Should we talk about the papers, Mar-a-Lago? Just because honestly,
Yeah, there's
I've looked into it. I just want someone to tell me some like actual facts.
Yeah, he's got confidential shit. And then they asked him to return it a few times, and he returned some of it, but he didn't return all of it. And so now there's some people that are like, well, big deal, it's confidential papers. There are other people that are like, well, he was selling nuclear codes to the Saudis. And I think the truth is probably, if I were to guess, I feel like the truth is very boring and that it's just Donald Trump being like,
You're cutting out again, by the way. After,
shit.
if I were to guess,
can you hear me
say that
now?
again?
Is this okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. If I were to guess, I'd say the truth is probably very boring and that it's Donald Trump being like, I don't feel like giving all my shit back to you because I'm Donald Trump and I get to keep it. And so
I want to show like the wettest dentist at Mar-a-Lago these like top secret papers.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you have to have something for the like
course.
To
luxury
show.
tour. For like the Black Diamond tour that people are doing at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
So he's like, check this out. This was the nuclear code from like May to June of 2017. You can see it right here. He's probably doing something like that with it or just having it because he doesn't want to give it back because he doesn't feel like giving it back and he doesn't like being told what to do. I don't think that he's out there like fucking James Bond movie, like a former president selling nuclear codes to any foreign asset, but they're just using that to like scare him and say, okay, you should have given this stuff back, but you didn't. Now we're coming after you.
Just real
Yeah,
quick.
no, the funniest part is like they tried to retrieve this in like the least invasive way possible because the FBI doesn't want to fucking like disrupt the forces, you know what I mean? They don't want to rock the boat. So they literally politely asked him and he was just like, no. So then they had to retrieve it. Oh, it's so good.
I
love that.
really hope it's like the Suns stealing the UFO secrets, like stuff that like everyone wants to know as like the president. Everyone thinks the president knows everything. I think they're actually kept much in the dark about a lot when they get into office, like all the secrets, quote unquote.
You think it's like Eric Trump?
Yeah, or Barron. He's just like,
Oh yeah, that's
the
another
UFO.
theory. Barron Trump is going to be an elite NBA player.
Oh yeah.
He's got.
He needs to
He was born in
he's
August.
too slim though. His build is like too frail. He needs to fucking beef up a little bit.
We'll fill out
Chet
that. form.
Holmgren.
Yeah,
I think if he picks up Chet Holmgren's game, he
Yeah.
could definitely get something going.
but yeah, I feel like
He needs to get off the sticks. Like I think he's playing too much like Fortnite or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? He needs to like start playing basketball.
I mean, there is a chance that he is a viewer of your Twitch streams. Like he might. It's not unthinkable, right?
Yeah, Ted Cruz's daughters definitely. Well, I don't know if they watch me, but I know that they, for a fact, they watch all like the Minecrafters, and they're like super woke, and they kind of despise Ted Cruz, which is cool.
I love that.
But for Barron Trump, like, or it's either he's gonna get beefed up and he's gonna be like a versatile player, okay, like a strong power forward, or he's gonna be the classic like 7-foot center guy that like everyone makes YouTube videos of that just fucking fails because his knees buckle by the time he's like made it to the NCAA. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like
a guy that
7'3" guy who can like dunk without jumping.
Yeah, and eventually he just gets dunked on a lot because he's not athletic, but he plays basketball because he's so big. And if you're 7 feet tall, it's way easier to play basketball and not love it than to just go around and everybody that you meet is like, hey, why don't you play basketball?
Yeah, he just caves. He just caves to that pressure and then becomes like another shitty like 7-foot guy with bad knees.
It would be kind of sick if he got like awesome handles and was an incredible dribbler and had just like so much sauce and it was Barron Trump like lighting the world on fire as like a 7-foot point guard that can actually like bring the ball down the court. Like the next Magic Johnson is Barron Trump. That would be interesting.
I would hate that.
Yeah, I'm on board.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
he has all the opportunity. He has the world on a fucking platter. He could do whatever he wants, and he's just wasting it.
Shit, that boy shit at basketball. I guarantee it.
He's 6'6". He's 16 and he's 6'8" right now.
yeah.
I don't know if he's going to stop growing, but like I feel like most NBA players by the time they're 16, they need to be built into their body, and he just seems a little more like a newborn giraffe.
He's got time to fill out. Like put him on steroids, Billy.
He probably just needs creatine.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you. I'm very pro PED, by the way. I love that. I myself have not used it because I'm an addict, and I feel like I would go Ninja Turtle mode if I did it. I would never stop cycling, so I'm like afraid of that. Plus, I don't want to lose my hair. But I'm very much a fan of steroids. I think sports would be more fun to watch if everyone was just like openly doing steroids and doing it more frequently.
I think in fight sports that's when it gets weird.
Yeah,
because like if you're way more deadlier the stronger you are.
Mm-hmm.
But pre-USA USADA testing in UFC, everyone was juiced. So I mean, I think compounds that are geared towards recovery, like HGH, so guys can operate, play, and a lot of times be out of pain, I think would be a huge, like there's a lot of HGH, not peptides that you can get injected into if you were not a professional athlete, like in an elbow. I think PFT just may have torn his bicep. I'm actually trying to order some to inject into him. He doesn't know about this yet. I've been thinking about it.
Thank you. Yeah, load me up.
But like, I think those should definitely be legal, just so athletes can, not have their careers ruined and also be able to play longer.
Think about it. Think about what is the greatest sporting spectacle that we've ever put on television here in the United States? American Gladiators. Those guys were fucking juiced out of their minds. I loved American Gladiators. And they tried to bring it back with The Rock, and it didn't work out because they went all handheld cameras. They tried to treat it like it was a cinematic experience as opposed to a real sport, where they'd have like stationary cameras and scoreboards. I used to love American Gladiators. That was the greatest show of all time. Bring it back.
100%. I think that as far as PDs goes, like I think they should. Well, one, it will open up medical technology into an entirely different, an entirely different generation, which is great. I want there to be like easy to cycle steroids. You know what I mean? I have no issue with that. I think it'd be great with like less problems and less health complications. Like it doesn't like take a couple of years off your lifespan. But also I treat it like I was talking about this on my podcast with Jeff Wittick. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but like because he brought up the PEDs in fight sports as well. And I said, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but like it's like Formula One, right? Like there are boundaries to what you can put in the engine of a Formula One vehicle. Yes, you can make marginal improvements on it, but like ultimately there's like a standard that you need to abide by. And I think like you could do that for PEDs as well. I envision a future where you can do that, where like there's a baseline of steroids that you are allowed to take. And, they're constantly, doing your blood work and making sure that you're not like going overboard, or it's all monitored. And it's like, it's like doctor administered TRT.
Yeah.
Like Flintstone steroids. I like that. Like keep it reasonable. Don't do anything that's going to kill you or damage your organs.
Well, the thing is the feedback.
Well, they don't
loops.
give a shit about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they been did that. They pumped us with a whole bunch of shit to keep us on the field. So
that's
don't
true.
care about that.
Arian, how detailed was the list of things that you could not put in your body when you were playing? Did you have like a list that you had to read and check every supplement that you took?
Well, I was just never a big supplement guy, so I was like, whatever. Like I just fruits, vegetables, food, and work out. That was my thing. I never did supplements, but I know dudes who did, and they would monitor that shit, and they had to. They would read ingredients. I'm like, fam, are you a fucking scientist, bro? What are you doing? Like, it got weird, so I never really did that shit.
You know what?
They need to bring back Jack 3D.
Yes,
yes,
thank you,
yes.
thank you, Hassan.
This is the podium. Okay, if I were to run for office, that's what I would run on. I would run on bring back Jack 3D, put it in the fucking water. Okay, we need.
What is Jack 3D? What is that?
It was a pre-workout that had a low-grade methamphetamine in it. Unfortunately,
It was germanium extract, Billy.
it was unfortunately some grunts in certain army bases were taking too many scoops and ruined it for everybody by having heart attacks.
You got to take 1 to 2 scoops of it, and then you get the best workout that you've ever had.
They
You
took
get pumped
5.
up.
It'll burn your face. It literally, the sensation was like it would tingle my entire like
that was the beta alanine,
skull.
which you can still get that rush. You just got to get a large dose of beta alanine
not the same
with the meth.
Nothing is the same.
With the meth.
Yeah, it was
But
a synergistic force with the meth that was in there.
Yeah.
You know what is not a steroid, but you can get that is an amazing compound. And actually, one of our sponsors, Concrete. Concrete is a type of creatine, not your typical creatine monohydrate. It is not a type of steroid. Creatine is a natural molecule that
Are you
your
doing an
body
ad read right
produces
now?
and it presents in
Let him
various
cook.
foods because your body needs more than it takes. Concrete is the #1 bioavailable creatine with 70% greater plasma uptake than standard creatine monohydrate. Creatine is absolutely required for functional energy in every cell of your body. Your muscles need creatine to perform optimally and grow stronger. Your brain uses about 20% of the creatine in your body just to think. Concrete fuels your body and your mind. I use Concrete. Concrete's creatine HCl, which is like you don't need to do all the loading, all the water drinking. Concrete,
Really
I've
slow.
been taking it.
That was the
so
smoothest
much.
ad read I've ever.
Yo.
That was
Yeah.
incredible.
That's winning
Yeah.
ad read of the week.
Take control of your health, body, and mind. Build a better you with Concrete.
I didn't know-
Register now at concrete.com-podcast. That's CON-CRET.com/podcast. Receive free membership to Planet Fitness for an entire year, plus a $500 Walmart Visa gift card. Available now online and in-store at Walmart. Concrete is truly life-changing and performance-enhancing.
Hey, Kev.
Good job,
Hey,
Billy. That was incredible.
no,
I've been taking that stuff every morning.
What a fucking segue. What a segue.
Yeah.
That just hit me in the face. I just.
Yeah.
But nobody knew you was doing the ad, dog. Like
I just saw an opportunity.
I heard
That's
right
the
when he
most
went into
Billy
Concrete, I was like, I think he's doing an ad read voice, and then he kept going. I was like, oh, this rocks.
Yeah,
Fuck
Billy
it.
is the
I was
embodiment of late stage capitalism. I love you, Billy.
No, I mean I do it too. I have a contract where I have to serve ads at the top of the hour. Like I have a ad density contract where I run 60 seconds. This is the lowest ad density out of anyone on the platform. But I do that as well. I gamify my segues.
I mean,
So,
it's just good. But honestly, I really love Concrete.
Yeah.
It's so much because I remember in high school just taking massive amount of creatine monohydrate in
So
big
go on.
bags.
You shit
You're still
yourself.
reading the
Yeah.
ad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I shit myself the first time I took actual creatine.
Monohydrate.
Monohydrate, yeah.
Creatine HCl, much
Just
better.
poop myself, just went everywhere. It was a big mess. As Billy put it, I'm a poop guy, though.
He's a poop guy.
I don't know what that means. I'm just a poop guy.
He's one of those guys where he needs to watch what he eats or he might, be
not
out of
true.
commission
That's
for
not
like
true
2
at all.
hours.
I don't know where you're getting this information from.
I work with you.
Yeah, okay. I eat like shit usually. Not anymore. Now it's salads. Now I'm doing salads and soups. But
Great.
yeah, Hassan, thank you for joining us. We'll let you get back to your money making endeavors and do your Twitch stream.
Absolutely.
I love watching your streams. The one that you did on where you watched the video for the Bored Ape Yacht Club and you went through that entire like YouTube thing. That was fascinating to me.
Fillion. He's a good dude. I thought it was a little. I thought it was a little over the top. I think these guys are just nerds for the most part. I'm very anti crypto. I just think it's like it's just another scam. But it's like so obviously a scam. It just like it breaks my brain a little bit that other people can't comprehend that it's a scam. But it is what it is.
I think that Putin created it to pay his mercenary groups. Because the whole crash was right after the invasion. I was like, it's probably being sold right now to buy arms.
Billy,
and
where
fund
can
the
people
groups.
buy a T-shirt that says Putin created crypto?
Barstool store, store.barstoolsports.com.
Great ad reads.
We have a T-shirt.
Also, Billy, you would love his conversations that he's had with Andrew Tate. Your personal hero.
No. Andrew Tate's a guy I put like in Alex Jones territory where it's just the sound bites are hilarious. And seeing you guys take
He's
him
very
on.
entertaining.
Yeah.
He's very entertaining. I'll give him that for sure. Because like Jordan Peterson is a dildo. Like he's just like like you have to be like a very specific type of STEM lord to look at Jordan Peterson and be like, oh, that guy's so cool. He's like really owning women. Whereas Andrew Tate is like actually kind of fun to listen to. He is an entertaining guy. So I get why he has much broader appeal than Jordan Peterson, who's just a fucking nerd who cries all the time.
And plus he had like a decent, range of, comparatively a decent fight career. So like that makes people think like, oh man, this guy's like an action hero.
Like he can do something with his hands. Yeah. The funniest part of that was when you were debating him about women drivers, and you were using the statistics of, okay, well, if you look across the board at insurance companies, the premiums are lower for female drivers, and they've got all the data that says that they're safer drivers. And then his counter example was, I've been in like a dozen car accidents, and every single time it's a woman driver. And it's like, dude, you just said that you've been in like a dozen car accidents yourself.
Yeah.
It was completely lost on him. Yeah.
Yeah, he destroyed me when he said he's a habitual car accident guy. Always.
That in a nutshell is why I'm a pessimist. That he has millions of fans, and it's like they can vote, and they are
top G's
existing. It's like
they're not voting. His fans are like 14.
But they can, bro. They can vote. Some of his fans can vote, and it's like I sit in my room and I'm just gonna do.
I think his fans are a lot. I mean, there are a ton of people out there that just look at their phones and get pissed off, and then they close their phones down and go back to whatever their lives were.
But they still think the same though.
Until they log back in and they're like, oh yeah, this is what I'm pissed off about again, and then they get more and more depressed and more. They deal with more and more mental issues. They don't know why they're unhappy. It's because they spend 8 hours a day looking at their phones and figuring out somebody else to get really mad at.
Yeah. And then they think about it's just a way, like it's a great vector to like, take out their frustrations on women instead of like trying to figure out what the fuck's wrong with them. Maybe it's because they got pussy on the mind constantly. And like, they're routinely thinking like women have wronged them. That's it. That's the main reason why you're not getting laid. Not because women are bad or anything,
Also, with that sort of same thinking, I've read up a lot about incels because they're scary, especially like they're wide reaching and just very scared of the incels, especially their online communities. There also is the dichotomy that a lot of these people like think that like there are, I don't know. It's like they think that super attractive women are owed to them. And that's what causes a lot of their frustration, where there's tons of women that probably would, but they like think that they deserve, like a supermodel. And then that's what caused a lot of the frustration. Where it's like, well,
they claim that like women always want to level up, female hypergamy, and that's why they're untrustworthy across the board, and you can never trust a woman. And that's like, then you're getting into black pill territory, which is like red pill is like the introductory phase, and then black pill is like where you're, when you're just a doomer about women in general and the dynamic between men and women in general. And it's like, it's because of like, qualities that you cannot change about yourself, like your fucking skull, right? Like the way your face looks or something like that. But ultimately, you're right. They believe that women are trying to get the best partner possible. And I'm always like, well, what the fuck aren't you? Like, what do you mean? Like, you don't want someone who you perceive to be schlubby either. You know what I mean? You want someone that you're attracted to. That's normal. Everyone wants that.
Yeah, I blame King of Queens and commercials from like the 90s, because King of Queens.
Judd Apatow. He fucking broke No, I agree. Everybody thinks like, well, I look like Seth Rogen. Why can't I have sex with like these beautiful blonde women that Judd Apatow places in front of Seth Rogen in all of the fucking rom-coms that were made specifically for the male audience in mind? And it's like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. That's Hollywood, man.
Yeah.
You just gotta work on yourself.
You look at Kevin James, he's a UPS driver in King of Queens, right? His wife is a fucking smoke show, and everyone's like, oh, okay, that's realistic for me. Then it goes to commercial break, and it's like a commercial for a medicine for gout. And that guy's like going to the doctor with his 10 wife. And it's like, what's happening here? Why is this? But that does get into your mind when you're a kid.
Your representation of a 10 is Leah Remini.
No, I'm saying she's very attractive. She's more attractive than Kevin James.
She's way outside of Kevin James's league for sure.
I like her sass, okay? I mean, I'm attracted to witty comebacks.
Marge Simpson.
Isn't Leah like, what happened to her? Wasn't she like,
oh,
didn't she go
Scientology.
yeah, she's like kind of wild, right?
She like
she got
gets
up out of it. She
chased-
started whistleblowing.
Yeah, she's been getting chased by Scientologists. I remember seeing like a video where she was like,
yeah.
yeah,
That's why I was thinking that she went wild, because Scientology probably did like a PR blast after she left.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes
Huh.
sense.
Them motherfuckers
These guys
is like
are
anonymous.
Yeah. Well, we'll get you back on at some point, Hassan. But
All right, yeah, we got a lot to talk about still.
Yeah.
But this was wonderful. Thank you guys for having me. This was a wonderful experience.
absolutely, it's the start of a beautiful friendship. Have a good stream today. I'm sure you have a lot to talk about. You can find Hassan. He's always online in one way or another. His socials are at the bottom of the screen right now if you're watching on YouTube. But thank you, Hassan, and we'll see you around, buddy.
Nice to meet you, bro.
Peace.
Everyone.
Peace,
Later.
brother.
All right, we're back. I love Hassan. He's going to come back on. He texted me afterwards and really enjoyed his time. I think he likes Billy. I think you guys really hit it off. You probably could have talked to him about like pre-civilization for a long
Yeah,
time.
because
Did you expect that he would know about, or were you like trying to flex your pre-civilization knowledge?
no, it's
You're like,
something.
oh shit, a worthy opponent.
There was a point in my life where I wanted to go into finance, and I just found it so boring. So I had to make it like sound cool for myself. So like I started looking into the history of it, and I was like, oh, like financing is the only reason why like Christopher Columbus got his boat. Like the Vikings used to use finance to finance their raids. Like that sounds really
You looked at yourself as like a modern day warrior with
yeah, I was like, yeah,
a spreadsheet.
yeah.
Yeah.
But part of it was it then went back to like early pre-agrarian societies and like debt, how debt existed back in those times. And it's kind of the explanation of like capitalism is the natural state of humanity through debt. And then there's two competing ideologies about it. Were we a hunter-gatherer commune society, a socialist society, or was that socialism really a system of social debt where everyone who contributed, then everyone else was in debt to them technically? So that was why it all went round.
Interesting. Well, let's get into some voicemails. Do we have voicemails? Anything else you guys want to get into? Big T,
I don't believe so.
anything on your mind?
Well, that's a different question, but
What are you thinking about?
I don't think so.
I just want to tap into your brain real quick. What's going on in there?
Just this show right now.
Okay.
If anything comes up later, I'll let you know.
Okay, what do you think about Tatis?
I mean, what an idiot. It seems like the rest of the team kind of hates him. To get into multiple motorcycle accidents that keeps you out the first half, and now you're suspended 80 games for steroids. Like, also, I mean, that contract could end up being, obviously you hope he learns from his mistakes this year and does not repeat them, but that contract could end up being terrible for them.
Yeah, so what happens? So obviously he's not going to get paid, right?
Correct.
So does that have any ramification whatsoever on their cap?
Well, there is no salary cap in baseball.
But luxury tax wise?
I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just seems kind of stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. Although I put a future on the Padres before the Juan Soto trade happened because I was hedging against myself emotionally. I didn't want him to go to the Padres, but I thought that he would. So I put a future on the Padres to win the World Series. They traded for Soto. It was at plus 2,200, I think, when I got it, and it dipped all the way down to like plus 1,000.
Yeah, they went down to 1,000.
It was looking pretty good. So I could have cashed out, but I didn't because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to ride this one out. And then the Soto thing happened. Now they're back up to, I think, plus 2,000. So I was
They're still
bummed out
going to
about
like
that.
struggle to make the playoffs, it seems.
They're a good team, though. Like they're
talented. I don't know that they're good.
Okay, so this just came out about Trump, some of the data Trump had.
Okay. Talk to me.
Trump's lawyers copied voting machine data from multiple states after 2020 election, a major unauthorized data breach.
Are you not allowed to do that?
I
What does
guess
that mean,
not.
copied data?
They copied the data. I mean, I guess it was government issue, like those electoral data that he had access to that he just took. I could see that.
Okay, so maybe just go back and take out everything that I said about the entire Donald Trump data thing. Thanks. Okay, appreciate that. So before Billy so rudely interrupted us, we were talking about Fernando Tatis. I think the Padres will be fine. They got this far without him. They got Juan Soto.
The Phillies just keep winning. They look like they could get one of those wild card spots. Whoever finishes second in the Central could challenge them. I personally would love for them to not make the playoffs. I think it'd be hysterical
Yeah, it would be.
for the second consecutive year.
What do you think about the Mets?
The Mets are a good team. We'll see if their success continues all the way through the postseason, but they're good. We'll see what happens this week. We're playing them again.
Are you afraid of them?
No.
I would be. I think the Mets are good. All right, so
I'll believe that when I see it.
let's get to these voicemails that are presented by Shady Rays. I've got my Shady Rays right here. Shady Rays has the essentials that you need to make summer complete. I'm going to put them on while I do this ad read. Shady Rays sunglasses offer an industry best combination of fit, style, and performance without the big brand price tag. I've got the aviators on right now. I usually wear more of their Wayfarer model, which I also have here on the desk. These things are fantastic, and it doesn't stop at the quality. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection program in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they will send you a brand new pair. Wear it with confidence because Shady Rays has your back long after your purchase. If you don't love them, exchange for a new pair, or you can return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop with Shady Rays. Their team always has your back, and exclusively for our listeners, huge deal alert, Mad Dog. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their very best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com, use code MACRO for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. That's shadyrays.com, use promo code MACRO, get 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses.
Okay, ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Hey, my name is Asa. I just want to say, for being the only podcast on the internet, you guys are awesome. I just have a quick question for you guys. Who do you think, if they died and you guys looked at their internet search history, would have the worst one? And why is it Big T? Shout out to Arian.
Okay, for me, this one's a no-brainer.
It's Billy.
It's Billy.
It's Billy. It has
I
to
mean,
a
yeah,
million percent
we're-
Billy. Now,
I don't know why this man picked Big T.
It would be very tough to...
because he's a follower.
It would be very tough to parse Billy's search history and figure out exactly why he was using these internet searches, because I'm sure you've got stuff on there for like these experimental proteins that you put in earlier. You've probably got some really fucked up searches in your past. Now, they might not be for bad purposes.
But just fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's just look at my search history from when we started the show.
Okay.
Uh,
Walk me through it. Yeah.
yeah, let's look at this. Okay, so from we started the show, what time did we start the show? 1?
One.
Okay, my first search is LaGuardia Airport. Only impeached president. Why was Andrew Johnson impeached? George Washington illegal. Fahrenheit Trump.
Fahrenheit Trump.
Tania versus
Like
color.
Fahrenheit.
Wait, what did I say? No,
Fahrenheit
Baron
9/11?
Trump. Baron Trump height.
Okay.
Tania versus color.
That's what you have.
Yes.
I diagnosed Billy
I saw
correctly
that.
with a disease.
You're actually right on that too. I have that.
You've got the fungus.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you guys are both fun guys.
If you are a dermatologist, can you please send those pills that get rid of the fungus? I am just too lazy to go to a dermatologist.
So Billy, I didn't have the heart to tell you.
I actually think I have some.
Billy has monkeypox.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
He's just been rubbing backs
It's
on
going to be great
on
for the
people like a
content.
bear on a tree.
Yeah, I caught it playing basketball.
Do you actually have it?
Pick up basketball. I caught it. We were shirts versus skins, and I guess I caught monkeypox.
Wait, are you actually serious?
Yeah,
right
do you
now?
want to see the sore?
Wait, are you serious?
Yeah, it's been going around.
Billy doesn't have monkeypox.
I'm
Okay.
joking.
That's a lie, but he does have tinea versicolor.
Himbos.
You searched himbos?
Well, someone called Billy a himbo, and I agreed with them.
Okay.
And then I had to look it up. Conor McGregor misses out on sports top 10 social media earnings. Well, this is where it gets good.
That's a very specific search.
Mushroom extracts, lion's mane mushroom, mycolovefarm.com. Accidental racist,
Yep.
walrus skull, walrus body under fat, walrus body under fat, walrus body under fat, walrus skull, whale breaching on boat, Ellen DeGeneres girlfriend, double Windsor knot.
Where'd that come from?
Anne Hetch.
Why do we wear ties? Necktie. Anne Hetch and are you dead before you're born? Jerking up when sleeping in trees. That sounds sexual.
Yep, it does.
How long has humans existed? Kirk Olivadati. When do you start dying? Ayahuasca. Mate. Yeah. BPC 157. Hitler paintings. Hitler paintings good. Hitler.
That's a bad one.
Texas man who had sex with horse.
Okay.
I don't know where that one came from.
Texas man gets 10 years in prison for having sex with horse.
I want to turn all of Billy's search histories into a verse from We Didn't Start the Fire.
Can you get a DUI on a horse? Can you get a DUI on a jet ski? Can the Amish drink? Is adultery a crime? Ana de Armas.
Is adultery a crime? Can you get a DUI?
Watergate scandal.
Riding on a horse, riding on a... What was the other one?
Jet ski?
Yeah. Can you get a DUI? Riding on a horse, riding on a jet ski. I could turn that into a song for sure.
I have a bunch of when I'm like researching like very like incels and 4chan and stuff, that's when it gets weird.
You have to think like them to catch them.
Yeah.
That's where it gets dangerous.
I'm a journalist.
That's why I
technically.
watch fake news. You have to know what they're saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do research a lot of different extremist groups, just to figure out what's going on. So,
Yep. Okay, I think it's definitely Billy's search history is the worst. We can agree on that, right?
100,000%.
But it's not like weird porn stuff.
No, I don't think any of you guys are searching.
That makes me think there's some weird porn stuff.
Yeah, who said
But
that?
that's when people
Who mentioned that?
That's
when
what
people talk about the
think.
worst
No one
search
brought that
history,
up.
they're thinking about oh, we're gonna find porn.
Or like
Okay.
bombs.
it's more Wikipedia pages.
Let's play a game. Sunday searches. Mad Dog.
Yeah.
Go back to your search history.
From
I want to
Sunday?
see what you searched on Sunday. Big T, you as well.
Okay, I only searched 5 things yesterday.
This
Okay.
isn't fair.
How do you do this on a phone?
You can go. It's like the little book on the bottom of your Safari.
Got it.
Okay, so I searched New York Giants schedule, New York Jets schedule, over-the-counter laxative pill. That's
Okay.
and McDonald's breakfast hours 2022.
That's not bad.
That's it.
Wait, over the counter laxative was before or after
after.
McDonald's breakfast hours? Okay.
And then just the New York football team schedules.
That's solid. So wait, how do I search my history?
Okay, so go to history.
Yeah.
Open your browser and then there's the
Go
little
on
book at the
Chrome.
bottom. Mine was Hank Aaron autograph, Ricky Gibson 24/7, good kid that just committed to UT. He's going to be a good ball player. Scott's Tots episode, Matt Olson stats, and then Hassan Piker
Okay.
because I was looking up stuff about him.
All right. So where do I? So I went to
So-
my history.
So go to history, and then if you scroll down, it should say like Sunday, August 14th.
Yeah, I'm on that.
And then it'll pop up to the side of what you were searching.
Okay. So I can. Okay. I've got.
Do you see it?
Yeah. Got it. Wait. Yeah. I got it now. Packers uniforms. Packers quarterback. Scrolling down. Carson Wentz 73 degrees. And that's it. That's all I did yet. I had a pretty clean day. I didn't
Yeah,
really
you-
search for anything yesterday.
No.
That's impressive.
Avery?
Mine was only Ford vehicle order tracking because I'm just watching the progress of my Bronco.
Yeah,
which is
Yeah,
built.
wasn't that supposed to get here like a long time ago?
I know. So it just got shipped. It's on its way.
How long does that take?
I don't know. I don't know how long it takes, but I'm assuming. I think there are motor vehicle factories in Detroit.
Yep.
So I'm assuming it'll probably take a couple weeks.
That's so exciting.
I know. I'm really excited. What else is it? Oh, and my human interest. Seeing how much money my 401k has lost.
Mine's lost so
No,
much.
I can't go on that website.
Yeah, it's bad.
Well, what do you guys put it in?
Stocks and or like what's my split?
Okay.
You put money in each paycheck.
Yeah.
Do you
What
do that,
website
Bill?
do I do that?
Human interest.
Let's go see what we're at. Oh, we're up to only -1%. That's a very big.
Yes,
pretty
that's
good.
where I was at. Yeah.
I've been at like 11.
Yeah,
Barstool-
it's been bad.
Barstool matches, right?
Yep.
Gas prices are down.
All right, new voicemail.
Yeah.
Yeah, rocket.
Hey everyone, Pat from Baltimore. Love the show. Arian mentioned bathroom etiquette being a reason he has a negative outlook on humanity. It kind of got me thinking, what are some easy ways to determine someone is a scumbag? Kind of reminded me of the shopping cart test, which basically is if you're not in a dire emergency, it doesn't really take a lot of effort to return a cart to the area it should be, but you gain nothing to do so. It's a scumbag move not to return it, right? Just wondering, outside of the bathroom etiquette, some other good ones to determine if someone's a scumbag or not. Also, side note, Baltimore banned single-use plastic bags from the stores. Hand carts were gone within 2 days of the implementation. Gotta love those unintended consequences, right, Big T? All right, thanks, everyone.
Wait, what did he say?
Hand
They
cards?
banned single-use plastic bags and what?
In Baltimore, and then hand carts were out of the stores shortly thereafter.
Oh, they just got stolen.
I guess so.
Or they
Oh.
got bought up.
I think that's what that means. Yeah. I've been dealing with no plastic bags for like 10 years now because Austin was one of the first cities that did that. I thought the world was going to end when they banned the plastic bags, but life finds a way.
Well, here they've not only banned them, they now charge you for paper bags.
Yeah, I'm the
If
goat.
you want a bag at all, you are getting charged.
It's what, 5 cents?
Yeah.
So, some at bodegas,
10.
they'll charge you a quarter.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
I'm the goat at forgetting my reusable bag at
Oh,
home.
I
I don't
mean-
think I've ever taken a reusable bag. I've got like 50 of them at home. Always forget them.
I really want to get my dog a cart I can hook him up to so that I can just fill up with groceries and like beer.
And he's like a packed mule.
Yeah.
I like that. Arian, the question that we just had was, what is another test that you can give somebody or observe somebody doing that can tell you whether or not they're a scumbag? I would say how they treat waiters and waitresses is
That's
a pretty
a
good
good
one.
one.
Or a cashier, or anybody in how they treat people that are in retail or working in a restaurant. I think would be two big ones for me.
I think I don't think there's a single one because I've seen people pretend for years, dog. You know what I mean? And so if the reward is big enough, they'll pretend for long enough. And so I think the best way I do it is I just give them all the rope they need. You just you let people be who they are and believe them when they show you, and they'll tell on themselves sooner or later.
Mm-hmm. How they treat kids is a good one.
How they talk to their mom.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one too.
That's
Yeah.
how like I very very much pay attention to how someone talks to their mom,
Mm-hmm.
especially on the phone. 'Cause it's hard to be a dick in person.
It is. Big T, what do you got?
I like yours a lot, how you treat like retail people. I was also going to say, this is a very specific example, but if you leave shit in a movie theater, like if you leave a popcorn and drink like sitting there, like or just like throwing things away in general, it's not very hard to just like take shit and throw it away.
Yeah.
I think that's similar to the cart thing that he was talking about too.
Yeah,
Like, it's
pretty
not
much.
hard to do that.
Yeah. Billy, you'll like this one. What about at the gym, re-racking your weights?
Yeah.
I think that's it in general. If people if they have expectations of like other people doing shit for them without any kind of gratitude, entitlement. It's an entitlement. Like people feel entitled to shit. That's usually a telltale sign.
If they'll help you move.
No,
I think you can
hell
be
no.
a
Hell
good
no.
person and still not want to do
Hell
that.
no.
Now
Hell
you're
no. I'm not helping you move.
You're a really good person if you do agree to do that.
I've helped move 9 people in the past 2 months.
Jesus.
See, they're taking advantage of you.
Yeah.
Really. Now let me tell you about the people who are asking you.
You're
No,
just
I like
you're
it.
just being a pack mule.
You know what a great thing to do for somebody is? I'll always appreciate this offer if I'm flying into a city and somebody offers to pick me up from the airport. Even though you don't, like, I don't remember the last time I got picked up from the airport by somebody because I usually get a cab. But not to brag, but if you fly in
Still get cabs?
or an Uber or a Lyft or whatever, but if you fly in and somebody's like, I'll come pick you up from the airport, that's always nice to hear. Just making the offer. I never
Yeah.
accept it, but it's always like, okay, they're a good person in my book now.
I know about a guy on this podcast who did it for someone else on this podcast.
That's true. Who was that?
Facts.
Who was that, Avery?
I don't know.
Avery came and swooped. Avery came and
sir.
swooped.
Good person.
And it was late. It was like 11:30 at night.
Wow.
That's a
Appreciate
good
you,
guy
Cap.
move.
It's a guy's guy.
What are some other good guy moves?
I'm trying to think.
Oh, just tapping in. You don't want nothing. Like when you tap in on with somebody and be like, hey man, just seeing how you is, man. I don't want nothing. Just checking in and see if you're all right.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
one.
that's not normal. That's rare.
Everybody tap in on somebody today.
Tap in on something.
Yeah, I like that.
If you're listening, it's Tap In Tuesday. Just just tap in and just say, hey, what's up? Just seeing how you are. Was thinking about you. Hope all is well.
I did that this morning with my Rachel Maddow nugget. I talked to some people I hadn't talked to in a while, so I just thought I'd let you would like to know
I actually
that I
did
saw
that
Rachel
today.
Maddow this morning ruin my day.
That was the best thing that Big T's acting like it was
And
the
that-
worst
but
way to
that-
start his day. Big T secretly loved that shit because he's like, I get to tell everybody how mad I am that I saw this woman that I secretly have a giant crush on.
Stop. That led to but that led to some good conversations with some friends I hadn't talked to in a while.
Would you go on a date with Rachel Maddow?
No. Also, I believe she's homosexual.
Well, okay. Just throw it out. What if she has a thing for Big T?
A lot of people do.
Yeah. What if she,
Every person that calls into this show is obsessed with me.
what if you go on misconnections on Craigslist? Is that still a thing? And it's like me. I was eating my delicious floury French toast. You, giant orange man, walked by me on the street. I gave you a look. We exchanged glances. It looked like you tried to take a picture of me.
Stop.
Did you try to take a picture of her?
No.
I actually touched base.
It happened too quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, you got caught up in the moment. I'm sure you were emotionally.
So it's on. I'm not going to say the street it's on, but it's a very narrow street, and I always just kind of glance over, just see the people that are having breakfast in the morning. Just I find people watching interesting. I looked over and I was like, that's fucking Rachel Maddow.
What if she offered to pay?
Stop.
What if she was like, Big T?
She makes like $60 million a
Yeah,
year.
if she was like, let's go to this,
It's not that much.
let's go to this brunch place.
Lots
We're
of
gonna
millions.
sit down. Imagine Big T is imagine you're ready, willing, and able, and Rachel Maddow wants to take you on a date.
No, thank you.
Big T, would you
I think that's cap.
would you conform
Respect.
to the libs if they paid you like $6 million a year?
Yep.
What's your price?
Less than that.
Democratic operative Big T.
Like if you had to like be like, you know, be part of the woke mob, like
you're
cancel other people.
Buddy, you won't find a more woke mob member than me for $6 million.
you're Mayor Pete's bag man. So have you seen Veep?
Many times.
You're like Gary for Mayor Pete.
$6 million a year.
And you're also a
Pre or
spokesperson.
post-tax.
You're a spokesperson. So you have to go on like cable news and talk about how all the stuff that Biden and Mayor Pete are doing is great. And
I actually think that would be a very intellectually stimulating job because you'd have to think of such creative lies that it'd be pretty fun.
All right, so $1 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Okay. 500,000.
Well, you now
That's
you now understand how these like
pre-tax.
Yes.
Yeah, no, we
pre-tax.
got to be getting up to 7 figs.
you now understand how these CEOs, media members, celebrities all conform because it's just they get paid to just shut the fuck up.
Arian, do you think that Big T secretly has a crush on Rachel Maddow?
Nah, I think he's pretty.
There are people I secretly have crushes on. I can assure you Rachel Maddow ain't one of them.
Tommy
Give me
Lahren.
one.
Tommy Lahren.
Tommy, that ain't a secret. Secret? I don't know.
You said you have many.
I guess none of them are secrets. They're just like celebrities.
So name one. Anne Hathaway.
When I was a kid, yeah, her and Hillary Duff. Hillary Duff, I've had a crush on since like 2003.
Hillary Duff is. Mwah.
Also, very slept on Christmas album, Hillary Duff. She has a couple original Christmas songs that are bangers.
Yeah.
That's what Christmas should be.
I haven't heard it.
You should.
Oh, I love
Hillary,
that's what
Hillary
Christmas
Clinton
should
walks around with a Glock. I mean, Hillary
She does.
Hillary Duff walks around with a Glock.
She does.
Yeah. She stays strapped.
I've got a confession. This isn't a secret crush, but it's more like a guilty pleasure that I'm going through right now. Yo, Harry Styles is fucking awesome. That album kicks ass.
Yes.
He's
PFT.
he's like a really good songwriter.
PFT. I'm not gonna scream. Oh my God.
He's so good.
I'm so happy right now.
Yeah, it's
PFT,
really good.
You just made my whole day by saying that.
Well, everybody always hates on
'Cause he wears
kids like
fun
teen
pants.
stars. And when you're like a kid in a band that's put together by an agency or some sort of talent group and you're doing like bubblegum stuff, songs that are written by somebody else, people always like laugh at you when you try to go out on your own. But the truth
he
is
fucking rips.
you've been a touring musician for a while. You've probably experienced a lot of music. You've listened to a lot of music. You've figured out how to write songs. You've been in the studio a lot. Chances are you're going to become a pretty decent musician. Like that's what happened to the Beatles. Now, granted, the Beatles wrote all their songs from the get-go, but they were looked at as teeny boppers. And then you grow as an artist and you get really good. Harry Styles is fucking awesome. Yes. Aaron, have you listened to any Harry Styles stuff?
I haven't, man.
I think you'd like it.
I think guys, this is so awesome.
Tap in. Matt, are you really happy?
I'm going to 2 of his concerts next month.
That's a lot of Harry Styles concerts.
Yeah.
2 in 1 week. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, that's a lot. I'm not at that level yet.
No, that's okay. Can I ask one question real quick?
Yeah.
Like, was it the most recent album you listened to?
I think so. Yeah. So
Harry's House.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Can you tell me what songs you liked?
I'll tell you the 2 songs that I've been listening to on repeat.
While you look that up, I have another question for Madeline.
Yes.
This guy has a concert in New York every 6 weeks.
Well, he's doing a stint. He's doing a not residency, I guess. He's doing a month stint at MSG from next week or the 20th to September 21st.
I just feel like this guy, he's in New York all the time.
He was
He's getting that bag.
He is getting that back. So he hasn't been back in New York. Actually, I take that back. So he had a one night only in May, and then he had a couple,
one night only till June.
Well,
Yeah, that's just a tour date.
well, no, it was a one night only. It was a one night only because it was the day his album released, and it was the only time he's gonna play his album fully through. So that was the one night only part of it, and then he has a stint coming up this week for the next month, and then he had a couple shows. Yeah, he does a lot in New York. He really likes New York. I'm really excited to live here now.
So I've been listening to As It Was
Great.
on repeat.
Great.
And then I dipped back into his older catalog. Watermelon Sugar is a banger. It's a good song.
Right.
I don't think he's singing about watermelon. I think that song might be about something else.
So interesting.
Target. I heard that in Target.
Those are like the radio hits. You got to do a deep dive.
Okay, I will. I'll listen to more of Harry's House.
Harry's House I think you would like Harry's House based on what I know about your music taste. I also think you would like his first album a lot, just his self-titled album.
Okay.
Like Ever Since New York, From the Dining Table. I think you would like those songs. But his first and his third album, I can see you really jiving with. Oh, this is the best. Yeah.
No YouTube.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I'm
a
not
type
trying to get us demonetized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That his first
type
album
that.
has like a lot of like Fleetwood Mac vibes to it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I like Harry Styles.
PFT.
Good singer, good
Oh,
songwriter.
You just made
Complicated music, but interesting music.
Mm-hmm.
He's good. I'll put my hand up.
Yeah, I don't have a tattoo, but if I were to get one of his lyrics, I have like in my mind.
What is that?
It's hash browns, egg yolks. I will always love you, and I want to get a little hash brown and a little egg yolk.
That's cute.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fun.
but that's my one thing. Oh, I'm so happy. But yeah, I'm
Billy's
seeing Harry
pissed
Styles.
off. I can tell. Billy hates Harry Styles.
Not
Do you
really.
think he's gay?
No, I just
There is something about like, if you guys were around back in the '90s, you'd know that like when Backstreet Boys came out, everyone was like, "Oh, they're gay," but it was mostly dudes being like, "I'm pissed off."
That's
that
what everyone
all the
thinks-
girls wants them.
That's what everyone thought about One Direction. They're like, oh, they're gay. No,
Dude.
they're not. They just know how to freaking get bitches, and you don't.
I'm allowed to check out from conversations time to time.
What do you think about Harry Styles? One word.
He's got some good music.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's hot.
I actually don't know what he looks like,
What?
but I'm sure he's handsome.
I'm actually
He's the
pro.
dude or dresses
Yeah.
and like
And
and like
and
conservatives.
Candace
mad as
Owens got
fuck.
really mad about it. Bring back
Like-
manly men. Yeah.
Yeah,
Masculinity is gone.
Yeah, Candace Owens hates him.
musicians have never been like what's the word I'm looking
Androgynous.
for? Androgynous. Yeah, that's never been a thing.
David Bowie, Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually think that with Mick Jagger, so Mick Jagger and Dave Bowie had like a thing, romantic
Yeah.
thing. I think Mick Jagger just like fucked every chick, and he was like,
I gotta try
I'm
something
kind of
new.
bored. I'm bored with that whole. I've seen them all.
Yeah.
Seen them all. All right, we have another voicemail.
Yeah. God, PFT, you just made my day. That's awesome.
Dude, Harry Styles got some bangers. I'm like now thinking about
I know.
like I mean, if the music gets the ladies going, who am I to judge?
There's another song that I was listening. I got to figure out which one it was.
All right, while you find that song, I'll do the next voicemail.
What's up, Macrodosing? This is DC from Boston. Quick question for you. If you were a ghost, who would you haunt? Feel free to add some fun wrinkles. Free bonk on PFT. Stay beautifully handsome.
I like that.
This song's As It Was. Did I say As It Was?
said
already?
As It Was.
Yeah, As It Was is a
Anything?
jam.
Okay, who would you haunt?
What did he say? I couldn't hear it.
If you became a ghost, actually kind of goes back to our death conversation. If you died and became a ghost, who would you haunt?
Arian.
That's my only option to haunt people. The fuck?
Yeah, if you had to. If that was like your job.
I wouldn't. I would just help random people.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't think haunt has to be necessarily a bad
I'd
thing.
be Robin Hood ghost. I would just rob a whole bunch of rich people and just help poor people.
I don't think you can touch things.
Oh, you're a ghost.
Oh, all of a sudden you know the rules of being a ghost, nigga? What the fuck?
Ectoplasma.
There are no ghosts, bro.
That's what you think.
I'd haunt Billy to get good content for the podcast.
Thanks, man. That would be huge. There's a goddamn ghost.
Yeah, no, we all think you're crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know who I would. I have some enemies in my life that I would haunt.
I'd play.
Who's your number one enemy?
Not to be named on this podcast.
What did the person do to become your number one enemy?
Not to be talked about on this podcast.
Why can't you say what happened?
Because they don't know they're my enemy.
Yeah. She can't
Wow.
reveal her hand.
Yeah.
They listen?
Because that person will know. They
I don't
might
know if they
not,
listen.
but they might be like someone who does.
I don't want to give him back.
I would play funny pranks on my friends. I'd like do funny stuff like I'd ice them if I can move stuff.
I think icing is out. I think
Is
icing.
it-
Oh, all of a sudden you can move shit now.
Yeah,
This is
I know I was messing
Yeah.
with you.
crazy.
Wait, so Madeline, this person that's your number one enemy doesn't know you're their enemy, so are you like still pretending to be friends with them?
No, I'm not friends with this person anymore. But I don't know if they know they're my number one public enemy.
I'm fascinated by this dynamic.
Well, it's not a public enemy because you're not mentioning her in public. And I'm
Or
definitely
him.
think it's a. I saw her.
I have
It
one
sounds
of
like
each.
some woman. It sounds like some woman.
Daydreaming and Late Night Talking. Two other good songs.
You are literally the best. Those are the greatest songs. Those
They're-
are so good.
They're fantastic songs.
Daydreaming is really good.
Highly recommend, Arian. Check it out. Who would I haunt? There's so many people I would like to just to like fuck around with.
Yeah. What type of pranks? You'd play pranks. You wouldn't be a haunter.
I'd like to drive somebody crazy.
Yeah, I would like to make someone's days just like a little bit worse.
I would like,
In an inconvenient manner.
I would like to haunt Frank the Tank.
and just make. Would you make the Mets really bad?
I would just make stuff fall over in his apartment whenever the Mets, like when they gave up a run.
Yeah.
Or when something bad was happening to the Mets, I would just knock a glass off the table.
When one specific reliever fucks up, like Joely Rodriguez, like
Yeah.
every time he gives up a run, you do something.
Yeah, it would be like a moderately good player who fucked up enough or when somebody struck out. Maybe.
Every time Francisco Lindor strikes out.
Yeah, when Lindor strikes out.
No, but it's got to be a guy he hates, because like then he's
Well,
gonna
that's
come.
most of the roster, right?
That's true, but like somebody like Lindor's playing like well, but like he'd come in here like Joely Rodriguez. I know is a reliever that he hates. So like if you did that every time he gave up a run, he'd come here and be like, and every time Joely Rodriguez gives up a run, a cup falls out of my cabinet.
Jelly leg.
Jelly leg Rodriguez.
Yeah, I would knock over like a jar of jelly from his kitchen counter. And he would get driven insane by it, but it would be fantastic content.
I love that.
Yeah.
I would also like to haunt Hank. I think that would make for good content too.
What would you do to haunt him though?
That's a good question.
Every time he tries to light up a joint, just blow it out.
Yeah, that would haunt him. That would haunt him good. Yeah, he would go insane.
Can't light anything.
Hank gets driven to using harder drugs because he can't smoke weed anymore.
So they're gonna haunt Hank and Frank.
Yeah, Hank and Frank. That's right. Have you met Hank?
Yeah.
Hank,
I don't know.
Hank the
man.
hater.
Well, he was on the show.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know that they've ever.
Yeah. No, I met him in real life.
Everybody tell Hank thanks for listening to Macrodosing. We appreciate him.
Thank
He's
you,
no
Hank.
longer a hater. Hank is a true believer in this podcast
He
now.
is.
I had a heart-to-heart with Hank a couple weeks ago where he updated me on the progress of the show. Had nothing but great things to say about it. Hank is officially a Macrodosian. So
Shout out Hank.
any Hank slander will not be tolerated because he likes us. And if you,
Hank is
Also
really
the
nice.
coolest. I don't know if there's a term for it, but like the name of a group of something, like fans of stuff, a Macrodosian. That's the coldest shit. Like,
yep,
love that.
it is cool. Do we have any more voicemails?
We have one more if you want to do one more.
Okay, let's do one more.
Hey, this is Alex from Michigan. My question is, let's say you and a friend or a loved one, one other person, find yourself in a government room with government officials. They say, we have almost basically a play-by-play of every event in American history that you have complete access to, unlimited amount of time to read it, go through it. You have every piece of knowledge, every conspiracy, what happened to any conspiracy, any murder, Tupac, Biggie, MLK. yada,
Somebody
yada.
talking or my boy? I can't hear nothing.
But they have to kill you after. You have unlimited time to process the amount with your buddy or your girlfriend or whatever, but they kill you after. Would you do it? I'm for it. Let me tell you. Let me hear what you guys think.
Okay, so the question was, if there was an ability that you had to go to any moment in United States history and see everything that happened behind the scenes, whether it's a conspiracy or an event, you had unlimited time to watch it unfold, to process it from multiple angles, that sort of thing. It could be an assassination, could be anything. But they were to kill you right after you were done processing it. Would you take that bet? Would you take that agreement? I don't think I would.
Hell
Because
no.
I kind of like not knowing stuff.
Well, and it's like, what's the point of knowing if you just die after?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything out there that I'm that concerned about. Because, like, what if it was like, I want to see any proof of aliens that we have, and the only thing the government actually has is like some blurry pictures that I've already seen anyways. They're like, we really don't know anything, and then boom, I'm dead.
Right.
I like the idea of not knowing things sometimes better than I like the idea of knowing everything.
Yeah, what if you pick something that's just totally like not nefarious at all, and
Yeah.
the real story just sucks? and
JFK assassination. Ted Cruz's dad did it. Thanks, we already know. And then boom, you're dead. That'd be fucked up. I would not be happy with that. Arian, you're muted again.
Oh, I was laughing at the Ted Cruz thing. That's funny.
Yeah, I don't think that there's anything out there that I want to know that badly.
That I would
There
die
isn't
for it.
There isn't a thing. No. Unless he's just talking about U.S. history. But if
Yeah.
you're talking about like history and origins of the universe, shit like that, I would die for that one.
Yeah, you would die for like understanding what set the,
The
Big
truth,
Bang into
yeah.
motion, that sort of thing.
Yeah, like if there was an event that caused the Big Bang, that was exterior. If there was if I could know that there was a creator, that would be lit too. I would die for that one, and then see him right afterwards. Like, I saw what you did, dog.
Nice
Big
work.
fan of the word.
nice work. Well, the good news is you were dead at one point when the Big Bang happened, and then
Facts, man.
you're about to be dead again. So in the cosmic sense of timing, you will be killed right after you find out what the Big Bang could be.
Facts.
Think about that. Yeah, I don't think there's anything for me. What about you, Billy?
Yeah, no, nothing. I mean,
What if you got to play fetch with a dinosaur?
that would be so cool.
But you couldn't really do that because it's not like you're not knowing anything.
Yeah, I would like to do some non-consequential time travel. I'd be willing to die for that.
Where would you want to go?
Different. Like if you just let me if you said I could time travel to different times and places across history, but never be able to return to my current place, I'd do that.
I'd do that 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would.
But like
too.
you would have to abandon your whole life, everyone you knew. You couldn't travel like back to when you were alive,
Yeah.
but like you just like
Bro. Oh, that's the plot to oh shit. Oh, yeah, that'll spoil it. It's a Star Trek is it Star Trek? Yeah, I think it's a Star Trek movie, but that'll spoil it. I'll say it before. But I would do that 1,000%. And even like the people that you love and shit, you just create a video of shit. And it's like, this is why I did it. And like you can give it to them when they old or when they're young.
I like that.
That's crazy. Okay, well, thank you guys for listening to Macrodosing. That does it for us this week.
My Bronco arrived, by the way.
Let's
Wait,
go.
while we
Got
were
a
just sitting here?
voicemail, yeah.
Where is it?
It's in Paramus,
Hell
New
yeah.
Jersey.
Oh
what
my god.
what color is it?
Black.
Nice.
All black.
Can you send us a picture?
I will when I go see it.
What do the wheels look like?
They're big. They're like, I think they're like 35-inch tires.
Damn.
They're big.
dude, I might.
Let's go. I've been in discussions to get a Trackhawk.
That thing's insane.
I'm probably not going to do it because it's a stupid car to have, but the ball has been rolled a little bit on that. We'll see.
All right.
Because I got to
like
get a
that
car.
I like that car. Wow.
Yeah, I'll send you guys a picture.
All right. Love you guys. We'll see you on Thursday for Carstool Karaoke, and Big T will be singing a Garth Brooks song,
That's all alleged.
as is everything on
Can
this
you make
podcast.
Big T perform at a concert, a
Yeah,
pop
sure.
punk concert?
Absolutely.
No.
Yeah. All right. Big T's going to be performing at a concert. One night only. Big T.
We'll do it in Tennessee.
There you go.
We'll do Rocky Top. We'll do a Carstool karaoke.
Sounds good. So we will see you guys on Thursday. Love you guys.